Welcome to the sun, to the sun, to the sun.
Charm on the train, on the train. Charm on the train, on the train. Charm on the train, on the train.
Welcome to the sun, to the sun, to the sun.
Charm on the train, on the train. Charm on the train, on the train. Charm on the train, on the train.
Welcome to the sun, to the sun, to the sun.
Charm on the train, on the train. Charm on the train, on the train. Charm on the train, on the train.
Peace, family. What's good? What's good? This is your boy Soul of Mine. I am here live with Nkosi, an anonymous Hebrew. So when you come in the building, hit the like button. Hit the like button when you come in the building, family. This is the Solar Vision Debate League Season 2. And we got the debaters. They are live and in effect. And we got the judges in the building as well, so we are ready to rock and roll tonight. Does the Bible condone rape? Nkosi, anonymous Hebrew, is about to get it in. Just to let you guys know, we're in the process of actually setting up a debate with Amayan and King Christian that will be announced within the week's time, by the end of the week. However, on the 9th, that is August the 9th, we're going to have Danzali. He will be in the building going up against Brother Inyame, which is the greatest music era of the 1960s. Which is the greatest music era, the 1960s or the 1990s. That'll be 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Friday. Young Israel will be in the building. He will be going up against Wida. Who is the Messiah to come, King David or Jesus? That'll be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you be in the building for that. On the 10th, Orthodox Moore will be returning to action. He will be going up against Chris Harris. And the topic will be, is the Bible anti-African? That'll be 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we will be bringing Minister Howe in the building. He will be going up against King Christian. Are we already living in hell according to the Bible? That will be 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right? So, make sure you be in the building for that, family. We're going to be rocking out, going into the second week, and then that'll be pretty much the end of week 1. And as you can see, oh yeah, let me see. Oh, you can't see. Let me see. Let me go ahead and I'll bring it on later. But I was going to show y'all guys the standings. I just got to get the code for the hangout, but I can still show y'all the debate league standings. Here is the debate league standings right here as what we know it. Booyah. So as you can see, we got most, not even most, we got half of the debates already set. A little under half, because we got it close to 36 people in the building, and it's about 4 or 5 people in the fringes. So yeah, this thing is shaping out. We're going to get done the rest of the debates probably within a week's time for week 1. Lex Vortex has yet to debate. He will be debating in week 2. Yakim the submitter will be debating in week 2. Gideon and Brandon Bay debate is decided. That is not on here yet. Matter of fact, we can just go ahead and put it in now, because it's a spiritual win. It's a spiritual win for Brandon Bay. So with the spiritual wins, just so y'all guys can see, they get all 3 of the judges' votes for the spiritual win. So Brandon Bay got the spiritual win over Gideon. So it's good that you could just go ahead and see the process. Of how things are entered when it comes to the stats and standings for the league. So yeah, and just to let you guys know, you know, because there was an issue with, you know, the scheduling of the debates and understanding the topics and what is the deadline before it becomes a spiritual win. Anything that will result in you not being able to debate on the day of that debate is a spiritual win, or that gives the person or the opponent the option to reschedule or take the spiritual win. So it could be anything. It could be my PowerPoint's not working. It could be a blackout in that area. It could be a rainstorm. Anything that will result in you not being able to debate that topic. It could be a misunderstanding, which it shouldn't be, of the topic. Oh yeah, well I thought you meant this when you said that, and I don't think I could debate that, but you agreed on the topic though. So now that goes, okay, well, that person has the option to take the spiritual win. So just be aware of that, which I already put it on paper, and you can check it out on the Solar Vision Debate League Facebook group. Yeah, everything is accessible to the debaters. If anybody has any issues, just contact me and I'll send it to you directly. All right. So the process is as follows, right? We categorize these things pertaining to the things that I view as most important. And so we start from the least important to the most important, right? Because you want the most important to be the final factor in how the standings are going to pan out. So the least important vote will be the people's vote, right? So we'll go largest to smallest. You'll see it pans out. It goes into the order, as you can see, with the people's votes. And then I will go to the peers' vote, which is next up the back, largest to smallest. Then I categorize that along the lines of the peer vote. And then I go to the judges' vote, largest to smallest. And then it organize it based off of the judges' vote. And then after that, I go to losses. So this would be from smallest to largest, right? Then I go to winning percentage, right? That's largest to smallest. And then I go to wins, largest to smallest. So this is how everything is kind of panned out at this time. And as you can see, that it will solve the problem of any tiebreakers based off a person having the same record, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So, for example, Minister Howe and Out the Blue both have one win on the record. But why is Minister Howe over Out the Blue? They both had 3 judges' votes. They both had 3 people's votes, but he beats them in the peer vote. So he is over Blue because of the peer votes, right? So everything is kind of situated along those lines. So at some point, there's going to be, like, for the tiebreakers, you know, some area where a person is over them in a certain way. So you have some ties up here, like from, I think, Abdul all the way down to maybe Cube, or no, Brandon Bay, because they all have 3 judges' votes. They got spiritual wins. All those 3 people got spiritual wins: Abdul, Critic, and Bay. So it trickles down from the 3 judges' votes to the 2 judges' votes, as you can see, with the everybody has tied up with 1 win, and then it goes to the 1 judges' vote with Man and Kemet. And Rod Rack, he has 2 judges' votes, but he has a loss, so he would lead off the losers for week 1. So now that y'all see that, let's get into the debate now. What's going on, Anonymous Hebrew?
Yeah, peace, peace. Shalom, Mishpachah, peace to the family. All praise to the Most High in the name of His holy anointed Yeshua the Christ. Well, that's it, man. Let's get it popping. Ain't even nothing to talk about. Let's go.
All right. Nkosi, what's good?
Power to the dark side. What's popping, man? Looking forward to the debate. Excited and ready to get it on.
All right. So for tonight's debate, we will have a customized format. We will have a 5-minute opening, 20-minute premise, a 10-minute rebuttal interrogation, 10 minutes apiece for each debater, and a 5-minute closing. Nkosi will be first up the bat. So what we're going to do at this time is we're going to introduce the judges. Huh?
Said I was going first.
I'm sorry. We're going to introduce the judges before we get started. And Anonymous Hebrew, as what he said, will be going first. So let's introduce the judges at this point in time. What's going on, Sister Sheikah?
Shalom, shalom. Look forward to this debate. Just looking for clear articulation and making it plain, please. And that's it. Have a good debate, both of you.
All right. School of Understanding. What's good with you, brother?
Shalom, can I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to the debate. This is the third head-to-head between Rock Nation and the Tanks. So it's tied 1-1. Just looking forward to it.
All right. Terry Smooth. What's going on, brother?
Oh shoot, what up, Solar? We're about to have a really good debate. I like the topic. I got my notepad ready. I'm ready to go.
Locked and loaded, as you should be. So we're gonna get started with Anonymous Hebrew. I stand corrected. Anonymous thinks he's right all the time anyway. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and set the timer for 5 minutes. And whenever you're ready, you could begin your opening, brother.
All right, shalom, peace family. This debate is: does the Bible condone rape? Just a fair use warning. Any pictures, anything that I use, that may be copyrighted, it's strictly for educational purposes. All right, let's go. Judges, please get your pens and pads ready because I got a lot to cover. Does the Bible condone rape? This is my opening statement. It is my position that the Bible does not condone rape. My position is supported not only by the words in the Bible, but by multiple scholars that have written peer-reviewed articles and books attesting to the fact that any attempt to say the Bible condones rape is based on hasty generalizations founded either on an intense bias towards the Bible or a lack of true scholastic study of the cultural linguistics thought in the text. Three major arguments that I hope to present this evening is: number one, my first argument is I will hope to prove is that the Bible does not condone rape. This fact is going to be packed up because of a contextual basis. In any situation that you hear this evening, you will not hear the condoning of rape in the Bible. This point will be made evident by exploring scriptural references to rape situations in the Bible and using them as case studies to disprove the merit of my opponent's accusations. My second argument that I will present to prove that the Bible does not condone rape is the fact that any attempt to make accusations in this area is in a lack of linguistics or cultural study, hence leading the accuser to a false premise, once again based on hasty generalizations. Hopefully, my third final argument that I will hope to present is that I will bring forth rebuttals in my scholastic proof to show that either my opponent is not familiar with or he is purposefully ignoring what we call formal equivalence or dynamic equivalent translation. Okay, what this means is basically my brother does not understand that some Bibles work on a word-for-word translation, some Bibles work on a thought-for-thought translation. All right, let's go. We have two key factors in this debate. All right, the first one is it a confirmed rape? The second one is, was it condoned? All right, meaning was there any type of punishment or anything of that nature? Before I can go forward, we need to do some quick word studies. I'm going to teach you some phrases. If you see the word took or took her, usually this is going to be the word lakak, to take. This has the widest variety of applications, and I'll show you why in a second. It can mean to accept, bring by, carry away. It can also be used to mean to seize or take away, but it is not violent. I will show you the word that works for violent taking or violent seizing. All right, to lay with or to lie. This is the word shakab. This just simply means to lie down or have a sexual connection. Okay, this is what you're dealing with. Once again, this is not forcible sex. The next word is to defile or to humble. There are going to be two words that are used in this, all right? The first word that we deal with is anah, all right? Through the idea of looking down or browbeating, to depress, literally or figuratively, transitive or intransitive. Various applications as follows, all right? It can also be used for defile. It can be used for force, gentleness, humble. Because it has such a wide variety of usage, you must look at the context. This is my first point that I will drive home. You must look at the context. Now, the second word used for to defile or to be unclean is tameh, all right? To be foul, especially in a ceremonial or moral sense, to defile or be unclean. The Hebrew culture looked at a woman, maybe if she touched a man's copulation, or maybe if she was in a situation where she did have sex, she could then be defiled. Defiled does not automatically equal rape, okay? These are very key terms to understand. Here is the word that is essential in this debate. This is take by force. This word is chazak, all right? This word means to fasten up, hence to seize, to be strong, to restrain, conquer, aid, to use force, to fortify, seize. Every time I'm going to show you this word used, it is no doubt that rape was used. It will be used in conjunction with words like shakah, or words like the word used for anah, the word used for maybe a taking, or however we look at it. But if it does not have shakak, I will even show you in the law where shazak is the word of choice to use to identify a rape situation. All right, so finally, it is a confirmed rape and what is condoned. These are the 2 points. I guarantee you tonight, my opponent will have to jump through all types of hoops and semantics to prove his point that the Bible condones rape. I'm not telling you that you won't see rape, family. I'm going to show you some really bad situations, but you have to look and see, was it condoned? Shalom.
All right. Shout out to Anonymous Hebrew for dropping that science for the family. We're going to now hand this thing over to Nkosi. Nkosi, you have 5 minutes for your opening. I'll go ahead and set the timer. Whenever you're ready, you can begin your opening, brother.
Peace. So, my opponent tonight is saying that his position is that the Bible does not condone rape, but my position is that the Bible does condone rape. Now, before we go further, we have to look at a few things, and I apologize for not having a slide, but I want to define the word condone. And it means accept and allow behavior that is considered morally wrong or offensive to continue, deliberately to ignore. So it's like you're going to disregard certain things. And we're looking at the God of Israel, who was the Almighty, the all-powerful one, who had stepped in when he stepped in and stopped Abraham from sacrificing Isaac. The same God who stepped in and delivered the Israelites from Egypt. This is the same God that took certain situations personal. But when it comes to rape, we see that this same God has an indifference. This same God makes a provision for the Israelites to perform certain acts. This same God also makes it clear that whether this woman is an Israelite or a Gentile, or what we consider heathen, the men still have the ability to rape. Now, we have to understand that the Bible is a patriarchal society. The laws are bent toward the men. When Moses created the government of Israel, he had 70 elders or 70 men. So we're looking at a society where they're going to make provisions to cover up certain things. And I'll be showing that with scholars tonight who are Christian scholars who admit that the Bible does condone rape. And we're going to be looking at the fact that even though my brother Will Luke used linguistics to try to prove his point, at the end of the day, we can still read by the context, and we can even look at some of the Hebrew, especially the word lakah, where one of my studies will be David, where King David actually uses force, but he does it as a power rape. He uses his position. And the God of Israel does nothing to step in and protect the situation. In fact, the God of Israel even breaks his own law to protect this rapist, who, according to the law, was supposed to die. And we'll be looking at that. And we'll be looking at the fact that the God of Israel makes a difference between a betrothed woman and an unmarried woman. And we'll see where the God of Israel just sit back and allows men to just snatch women, just seize them, take them for their own property. So we're going to show how the God of Israel reflects the men in his society. They are a reflection of him. And we're going to look at this man after God's own heart, King David, and we'll be looking at how King David reflected the nature of his God. So I'm not going to delay you any further. I'm going to turn it over to Brother Anonymous Hebrew, and we'll let it go.
All right, let's get it. Let's get it. We're going to go right into this thing. Anonymous Hebrew, we're going to set the timer for 10 minutes.
Hold on. No, 20 minutes.
Oh, 20 minutes?
Yes, sir.
And whenever you're ready, you can begin your premise, brother.
Hold on. Let me start it on you here. All right, you can see me. I'm up.
1 second. You're up now, brother, whenever you're ready.
All right, let's go. All right, this is my premise round. I got to move fast. I got to move furious. All right, family? So I need y'all to keep up and take some notes. For this debate, my opponent and I agree that rape will be defined as any sexual action that is performed against the victim's will. Now, I need you to keep up because I'm going to show you various case studies and various laws that show you that this is not the case. You will not find this in this Bible. Oxford defines condone as accept and allow behavior that is considered morally wrong or offensive to continue. Not saying it can't happen, it has to continue. All right, once again, rape is defined as any sexual action that is performed against the victim's will. We have 5 major categories of the law that we'll deal with: marriage, fornication, adultery, rape, and strangers and servants. All right, now, welcome to my room, bro. This is gonna be your 15 shots to your premise. I got a 50 caliber Barrett sniper rifle that's ready to go. That's what I use, Cube. I saw your pump presentation. This is what I would use if I'm gonna go to work. Let's get it. Case studies for rape. My first shot. If the Bible condones rape, why does Absalom kill Ammon for the rape of Tamar? Let's go. Vengeance for the rape of Tamar. 2 Samuel chapter 13. And she answered him, nay, my brother, do not force me. That word is a not. I'll show you why that becomes important. For no such thing ought to be done in Israel. Do not thou this folly. Verse 14. Howbeit he would not hearken unto her voice, but being stronger than she, Chazak, forced her Anah and lay with her. Right? Anah does not show rape. Chazak shows the force. Let's get it popping. So guess what happens? Because this was not condoned. Absalom, her brother, said unto her, hath Ammon thy brother been in thee, or been with thee? Behold now thy peace, my sister. He is thy brother. Regard not this thing. So Tamar remained desolate in her brother Absalom's house. Oh no, Absalom didn't want her to say nothing. Here's why he didn't want her to say nothing. Because 2 years later, this is what he did. Now Absalom had commanded his servants, saying, mark ye now when Ammon's heart is merry with wine, and when I say unto you, smite Ammon, then kill him. Fear not, I have commanded you to do so. Be courageous and be valiant. And the servants of Absalom did unto Ammon and Absalom had commanded. Then all the king's sons arose, and every man got up upon his mule and fled. And the soul of King David longed to go forth unto Absalom, for he was comforted concerning Ammon, seeing Ammon was dead. That's not condoning. That is killing a nasty little rapist. Let's move forward. Shot number 2. If the Bible confirms rape, explain why David and Bathsheba are clearly in an adulterous relationship. Let's get it. David commits adultery with Bathsheba. And it came to pass in the eventide that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. And David said and inquired of the woman, and one said, is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? And David sent messengers and took her. This word is not chazak. He didn't take her by force, because look what she does. And she came in unto him, and he lay with her. only had sex with her, for she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house. The very next verse, and the woman conceived and sent and told David and said, I am with child. Why would a woman who has been raped even want to have anything to do with her quote unquote rapist? Stop playing with me. Number 3, if the Bible condones David's actions, why was he punished? Now, you may not like the punishment, but he was punished. Wherefore thou hast despised, this is 2 Samuel chapter 12, wherefore thou hast despised the commandment of the Lord to do evil in his sight. Whatever David did, it was evil. Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, not raped her, and has slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. Oh my goodness. So now, therefore, the sword shall never depart from thy house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor, and he shall lie with thee, within thy wives, in the sight of the sun. Where does it say it condoned the rape? It doesn't. Shot number 4, I'm killing this dude's premise. If the Bible condones rape, explain why the children of Israel killed the Benjamites for raping a Levite's concubine. Pay attention, this is kind of lengthy. Vengeance for the rape of the Bethlehem Judah concubine. And it came to pass in those days when there was no king in Israel, mind you, that there was a certain Levite sojourning in the side of Mount Ephraim, who took unto him a concubine of Bethlehem Judah. Right, and his concubine played the whore against him and went away from him unto her father's house to Bethlehem, Judah, and she was there 4 whole months. Now, this is Judges 9:19. I'm going to go forward, family, and I'm going to give you the verses. If the brother wants to bring something else up, he can. I got a lot to cover. So basically what happens, Judges 9:19, they leave. They decide to go back home. Once they get traveling, they decide, okay, we need to find a place to stay. They see a gentleman. He invites them to come and stay with him. He offers them peace, all right? He says, yo, just come stay with me. I don't want you to lodge into the street. That's verse 20. Now, when they were making their hearts, drinking and being merry, the sons of Belial, this is verse 22, beset the house round about and beat at the door and spake to the master of the house, not to the Levite, to the man that let him come in. The old man saying, bring forth the man that came into our house that we may know him. They wanted to sleep with the Levite. And the man, the master of the house, went out to them and said unto them, nay, my brethren, nay, I pray you, do not so wickedly, seeing that this man have come into my house. Do not do this, Father. Behold, there is my daughter and a maiden, his concubine. Them will I bring out to you, and humble ye them, and do with them what seemeth good unto you. But unto this man do not so vile a thing. So it wasn't the Levite that did it. This was this nasty Benjamite, basically. But the men would not hearken unto him. So what did the man do? So the man took, look this word up, took, this is Kazakh, took his concubine and brought her forth unto them. And they knew her and abused her all the night until the morning. And when the day began to spring, they let her go. So they forcefully raped this woman, right? And so verse 27, and her Lord rose in the morning and opened the doors of the house and went out to go his way. And behold, the woman, his concubine, was falling down at the door, and her hands were upon the threshold. And he said unto her, up, and lest we be going. And no one answered. So basically this woman died. She got raped and brutalized so much that she died. So what did he do? He takes her home. He cuts her up into pieces. I know this sounds heinous, right? He cuts her up into pieces. He sends her to all the tribes of Israel. Now, remember, they don't have a king at this time. So he sends her to all the tribes of Israel. What do? They all masked up. And it also says in verse 30, nothing like this was done in Israel, right? Not since they left Egypt. So all the children of Israel come together, they come up, they step up, and they get their swords. Now, verse 48 is the key. And the men of Israel turned again upon the children of Benjamin and smote them with the edge of the sword, and as well as the men of every city and the beasts and all that came into the hand. Guess what else it did? Also, they set fire to all the cities that came to. So if that man and that dirty Benjamite was still there, he was killed. He was punished for raping that concubine. This is not showing condoning. This is showing that they do not deal with it. Number 5, if the Bible condones rape, explain why Dinah's brother killed all the Hittite villagers. Vengeance for Dinah's fornication. Yes, I called it fornication, but even if the brother calls it rape, he still has to prove why they killed him. But let's keep it moving. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. Excuse me, need some water. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite prince of the country, saw her, he took her. This word is not Kazakh. This word is Lakish, or Lakak. I'm sorry, not Kazakh, Lakak. and lay with her and defiled her. He took her virginity. But even if he did rape her, we'll see what happens, right? And Jacob heard that he defiled Dinah, his daughter. Now his sons were with the cattle in the field. So basically, they're with the cattle. They come back, they're grieved because they know what has happened. They find out, and they say he has wrought folly in Israel, lying with Jacob's daughter. Which thing ought not to be done? Doesn't say kazak or force. He lied with her. They said he wrought folly because he lied with her. He took her virginity without getting permission from that father. I have several scholars that will back this up. Ask me never so much a dowry and a gift. This sounds a lot like the law. And I will give according to you. You shall say unto me, but give me the damsel to wife. He wanted to wife her. Why? Because he was an honorable man. The text says he was an honorable man. Right? And they said unto him, we cannot do this thing to give you unto your sister. Now, here's why they were mad. One that is uncircumcised, for that were a reproach unto us. They were mad because he was uncircumcised and he had sex with their sister. Verse 15. But in this will we consent unto you, if you will be as we, then every male will be circumcised, right? So they want him to get circumcised and want her whole village to be circumcised. Verse 19 calls him an honorable man. He is more honorable than all in the house of his father. Verse 25, and it came to pass on the third day that when they were the two sons of Jacob, Simeon, Levi, Dinah, and brethren, took each man a sword and came upon the city boldly and slew all the males. And they slew Hamor and Shechem, his son, with the edge of the sword, and Dinah. And they took Dinah out of Shechem's house and went out. Once again, if she was raped, why is she there with him? Number two, they killed everybody. They killed everybody. And I'm going to show you why I keep asking, why is she there with him? Because according to Israelite law, these women can leave. They can't run away. Let's keep moving. Then the sons of Jacob came upon the slain and spoiled the city because they had defiled their sister. He slept with their sister. Now, let's get with Israel's laws on sexual matters, because this is where it becomes plain. Once again, my sixth shot to this man's premise. If the Bible condones rape, explain why those so-called females oppressed by the law says to kill both the man and the woman if they commit adultery. Wow, that doesn't sound very patriarchal to me. If a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed unto a husband, and the man find her in the city and lie with her, notice he didn't take her, so y'all be able to get stuck on that, then ye shall bring them both out into the gate of the city, and ye shall stone them, both of them with stones, that they die. The damsel, because she cried not, meaning she didn't tell anybody, not because she didn't shed a tear, being in the city, and the man, because he hath humbled his neighbor's wife. She was a virgin, he took her virginity. So thou shalt put away evil from among you. My next shot to the premise. If the Bible condones rape, explain why the so-called female oppressive law says that a man has to marry the virgin after he entices her, which is what Shechem tried to do, right? Exodus 22, 16 and 17. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, what should he do? He shall surely endow her to be his wife. If he entices her, if her father utterly refused to give unto him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins. He couldn't just come get it for free. Couldn't just walk around with it, right? Couldn't just knock it down and then keep it moving. That's not what we do in Israel. Verse 28 and 29. This is where people try to play and say that this condones rape. If a man finds a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her and lie with her, and they be found, that is the key, and they be found, that means they were having consensual sex, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he has humbled her, once again, taking her virginity. He may not put it away all his days. So we've already shot his premise, because we see the same type of law and condoning and fighting for a virgin as a betrothed woman. My next shot to the frame. If the Bible condones rape, explain why does the law say that the man that rapes a woman shall die? It does not show condoning. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her, kazak, and lie with her, I told you that word kazak is the killer, and the man force her and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die. But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. For as when a man riseth against his neighbor and slayeth him, even so is this matter. For he found her in the field, and the betrothed damsel cried, and there was none to save her. My next shot to the frame. If the Bible condones the rape of slaves, explain why the law says that a man has to marry a slave before they have sex. So Leviticus 19:20, I want to give you some context first. And whosoever lieth carnally with a woman that is a bondmaid betrothed to a husband. How is this bondmaid betrothed to a husband? And not at all redeemed for freedom given her, she shall be scourged. She shall not be put to death because she was not free, meaning she does not need to be put to death because she didn't even really know the law yet, because she's a slave girl. Now, here we go. Here's what cuts you. When thou goest forth to war against thine enemy, and the Lord thy God hath delivered them into thy hands, and thou hast taken them captives, and seeing among the captives a beautiful woman, and hath a desire. That word "hath a desire," look it up, means he loved her. He had affection towards her. He wasn't just lusting after her. That thou wouldest have her to thy wife. These men were not nasty dudes. They took marriage seriously. Then thou shalt bring her home to thy house, and they shall shave her head and pare her nails. And she shall put off the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in the house and bewail her father and her mother a full month. And after that, thou shalt go in unto her and be her husband, and she shall be her wife. Oh my God, he just took this woman and had sex with her. Well, explain this to me. Explain how Israel condones oppressing a slave girl, but the law says that slaves can run away to a place of their choosing. How can a slave run away? Watch this. This is what the law says. Thou shalt not deliver unto his master the servant which is escaped from his master unto thee. He shall dwell with thee, even among you, in the place that which he shall choose. That means these slaves could run away wherever they wanted to. In one of thy gates, where it liketh him best, thou shalt not oppress him. That means that this slave girl, if she didn't want to marry this man, she could leave. She could run away. We are just snatching women up and making them marry men. That's not the way it happened. If the Bible, this is my next shot, if the Bible condones the rape of a slave girl, explain why the law says that no one is to oppress a servant. Isn't rape a form of oppression? Oh my God. Thou shalt neither vex a stranger nor oppress him, for ye were strangers in the land of Israel. Let's keep it going. Also, thou shalt not oppress a stranger, for ye know the heart of a stranger, seeing ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. Last one, this is the real shot. Thou shalt not oppress a hired servant that is poor and needy, whether it be of thy brethren or of thy strangers that are in thy land within thy gates. That means this is not happening. I'm going to wrap this up. So women thriving in a patriarchal society. Let's deal with this really quick. So if the Bible condones rape, explain why Sarah is considered the mother of faith and was never raped. That's right, Sarah, the matriarch. She made the choice for Abraham to marry Hagar. Yahuwah supported her decision to send Hagar away. She was the mother to Isaac. She communed with God, and guess what? She was not raped. None of that nastiness happened to her. None of that type of stuff was condoned. Let's keep it moving. If the Bible condones rape, explain why Miriam was a prophet and was never raped. Let's deal with Miriam. She rescued the Hebrew babies from the Pharaoh's edict. The first woman to have the title as prophetess in the scripture. Praised, and she did praise and worship. She was a praise and worship leader. She also communed with God. That's not rape. Let's keep it moving. She wasn't raped either. If the Bible condones rape or this patriarchal craziness where they're just oppressing these women, explain why Huldah was a prophet and was never raped. She prophesied during the reign of Josiah. She was the keeper of the wardrobe. She also communed with God, not raped. If the Bible condones rape, explain why Deborah, one of our best judges, was a prophet and a judge and was never raped. Woman, judge, prophetess, and evil communed with God. That's 15 shots to your frame, bro. 15 shots to your argument, proving that the Bible does not condone rape. As you go back and look at all of these arguments that I've put forth, and you go back and look at the context of them, this brother cannot show you one time where these women were raped and it was condoned. Let's deal with Tamar again. I'll give you a quick recap. So Tamar was raped and she said no. She said, don't force me, don't chazak, don't force me. And what did he do? He forced her. He forced her. He chazaked her. That's rape. And it wasn't condoned because because Absalom killed the boy. Right? If the Bible condones rape, why was a concubine avenged? Why was she avenged if the Bible condones rape? They took that woman, they raped her, and her husband went out and got everybody in Israel, and they went out and they killed all the Benjamites. Explain to me how does that condone rape? If David raped Bathsheba, why does it say she came in unto him? And let me give you some context, right? Bathsheba wasn't just no anybody. Her father was one of David's mighty men. You think she didn't know how to defend herself? You think she didn't know what to do? You think she didn't know what was going on? She married David. They had kids together. She stuck by David all through that. So if the Bible condones rape, show me rape. You have to show me, just like, and this is the craziest part, right? Since I got a minute and a half left. Why is the Bible clear about Tamar saying no? Why is the Bible clear about them forcing themselves to these women? But then when it comes to other things like Bathsheba, it doesn't say that she said no. I am not victim shaming at all. That's not what I'm doing. Please don't take this emotional, because this brother is going to try to appeal to your emotional needs. I am telling you, if when we are charging someone with rape in Israel, you are forced to kill them. Deuteronomy 22, 24 and 25, or 25 and 26 tells you that. If a man forces a woman, then he has to die, but not the woman. That is clear. That is how we do it in Israel. So at this point, I need for somebody to explain to me, because this brother is going to go ahead and try to put this out to you in a certain way, appeal to your emotions. He's going to try to get you upset. I'm asking you to be smart. I'm asking you to take notes. I'm asking you to remember what each person has said, because you will not find condone, which again means to accept or allow something to continue, meaning that it has to keep happening. Just because you see rape in the Bible doesn't mean that it is condoned. And when you see a punishment for something, that means it is not condoned. You may not like the punishment, but there is a punishment. I'll be back after my rebuttal. I still got 10 seconds left, so I'm just going to sit here and tell you, you cannot show rape. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom. Shout out to Anonymous Hebrew for dropping that science. So, yeah, man. He came out swinging. So we're going to hand this thing over to Nkosi. You have 20 minutes as well, brother. Whenever you're ready, you can begin your premise. Nkosi.
Peace. And my brother did a good job of bringing out some Hebrew, but he's also hiding behind the Hebrew. And he's talking about context, but we're going to look and see clearly where the God of Israel is giving a law. There is a Torah in regards to sexual rape or sexual misconduct. Now, my brother read part of Deuteronomy 22, but he didn't go further than that. And we're going to look and see some direct cases where, remember, the God of Israel, he condoned rape. Now, looking at again what rape is. It is to accept and allow behavior that is considered morally wrong or offensive to continue. Remember that. So our first place we want to go is to Genesis 19. And I apologize once again for not having a PowerPoint. And what we're going to look at is Sodom and Gomorrah. It was not Sodom and Gomorrah per se, but the acts of Lot's daughters. Because we have to understand what rape is. Rape is not someone always forcing themselves or overpowering you. There's many forms of rape. And I guess as the book of Ecclesiastes says, there's nothing new under the sun. Then some of the tricks that some of these predators are performing are not new. And with Lot and his daughters, the reason why we're saying that the God of Israel condones this type of behavior is because he had just destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah for some of their sexual sins, and especially when they tried to violate the angels of the Lord. But then, not only does he stop there to show how hypocritical this God is, he turns a woman into stone for looking back at the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. But then when we get to Genesis 19 and 30, we have Lot with his two daughters, and his daughters purposely get him drunk. So this God is allowing people to do something that's unlawful. It's an unlawful sexual activity. It's carried out in a way that's devious. And the God of Israel does not step in and block that situation. In fact, he lets these two sons that came from their grandfather become mighty nations. So yes, the God of Israel condoned that behavior. He didn't step in. He didn't stop Lot from performing that act or even get into the minds of his daughters to stop them from getting their dad drunk and having sex with him and then getting pregnant by him. And the God of Israel stood by that act. Now, let's go further in the Torah. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 20. And let's talk about how the law makes provisions for the Israelites to just take women and just do what they please to them. And we're going to start at Deuteronomy 20, and we're going to read verses 10 through 14. When you march up to attack a city, make its people offer a peace. If they accept and open their gates, and all the people in it shall be subject to forced labor and shall work for you. If they refuse to make peace and they engage you in battle, lay siege to the city. When the Lord your God delivers it into your hand, put to the sword all the men in it. As for the women, the children, the livestock, and everything else in the city, you may take these as plunder for yourselves, and you may use the plunder the Lord your God gives you from your enemies. So here it is, when the Israelites have this law, and many of our brothers and sisters say that they are Israel, so you have to also live by this law. If you were ever in a situation to where you could actually perform the law, if you destroy a city, especially the men, and you kill all the men, and you kill the women that weren't virgins, and we will be looking at that. You get to the women who are virgins, you keep them. What do you think is happening? Do you think they just hunky-dory? Oh, the Israelites came in and they conquered us. I'm happy. I want to be a wife of Israel. No, these were forced sexual relationships. Regardless if the God of Israel made provisions to let them mourn or whatever, he still condoned the act. He didn't just flat out come out and say, thou shalt not rape, and if thou do rape, you shall be murdered. No, he even makes a distinction. He makes a distinction between the married woman who, if she's raped, her rapist has to die. But if you unmarried, watch out, you in trouble. All you got to do is receive 50 shekels of silver and it's all good. Now let's look at Numbers 31. So we can see how this God of Israel is sitting here letting these people perform these acts. Numbers 31, and we're going to start at, let's see, verse 7. And verse 7 starts out that, well, let me set the stage for you. The Israelites are fighting against the Midianites. Now, keep in mind, Midian is the place where Moses learned the name of Yahweh. Midian was the place that basically opened their doors to Moses. Let Moses marry one of the daughters of Jethro, one of the mighty men, had helped this man, let this man raise a family in the land. And then here it is, this same Moses is leading an attack. And what's going on? They fought. So, long story short, from verse 7, he's saying that they fought against Midian, and the Lord God commanded Moses and killed every man. Among the victims were certain chief leaders. Now I'm going to pick up at verse 9. The Israelites captured the Midianite women and children and took all the Midianite herds, flocks, and goods as plunder. They burned all the towns where the Midianites had settled, as well as their camps. They took all the plunder and spoils, including the people and animals, and brought the captive spoils and plunder to Moses and Eleazar, the priest, and the Israelite assembly at their camp on the on the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. Moses and Eleazar the priests and all the leaders of the community went to meet them outside the camp. Moses was angry with the officers of the army, the commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds who returned from the battle. Now watch what happens here. Have you allowed all the women to live? He asked them. They were the ones who followed Balaam's advice and were the means of turning the Israelites away from the Lord in what happened at Peor, so that a plague struck the Lord's people. Now kill all the boys and kill every woman who has slept with a man, but save for yourselves every girl who has not slept with a man. So here it is, the God of Israel is making a distinction. Now, how do these men know that these Midianite women were virgins or not? Did they just stop and ask them a question before they killed them and say, hey, are you a virgin or not? Are you married or not? No, they were raping these women. Think of the movies like what you see in Gladiator, where you have these armies just come in and just ransack the area and destroy the area, like what you would see in movies like Conan, which you would think about what happened to Africans in the slave trade, whom many of these brothers believe the curses are attached to them. And I'm going to show you where the God of Israel says in the very curses that our Israelite brothers and sisters attach themselves to, that he was going to send this rape. He was going to allow you to be raped as disobedience to the law. He's allowing this immoral behavior to continue. Remember, according to Exodus 20, he punishes into the third and fourth generation. So whatever the negative act that comes upon you, it's sent from God. Now here it is again in Numbers 31, that the God of Israel is saying to kill all these other women, and then the women who are virgins, you can keep them for yourself. These women are not going along singing a song. These women aren't rejoicing to be captured. Now, my brother spoke about slaves and this, that, and the other, but we talking about, does the Bible condone rape? And yes, he is using the word lakah, but when you use that word lakah, it's not always indicative of what type of sex this is. It doesn't indicate if it's consensual or not consensual. It just says that they lay. Now, I want to go to Deuteronomy chapter 22. And I want to show you how the God of Israel is making a difference in regards to who dies and who doesn't die when it comes to rape. And my brother did an excellent job of bringing this verse out, or some of this excellent stuff out, but he stopped reading. He dealt with adultery, and then he's doing what he's been taught to do, and it's not the brother's fault. This is what most preachers have taught, because you got most of the preachers who preached that Bathsheba wasn't adulterous, that somehow she enticed David. But I'm going to show you how that's not actually correct. But let's deal with Deuteronomy 22 first. Now, let's start at verse 25 of Deuteronomy 22. But if out in the country a man happens to meet a girl pledged to be married and rapes her, only the man who has done this shall die. Now notice, this is a woman who was betrothed. She belongs to another man. Now keep that in mind as we go further in this debate. This betrothed woman is another man's property, so to speak. And I hate to use that term, but that's how it's seen in some cases. So she belongs to someone else. So if this man rapes another man's wife, he's going to die. But let's go further. Do nothing to the girl. She has committed no sin deserving death. This cause is like that of someone who attacks and murders his neighbor. Now remember, the judgment that if the woman is not found in any guilt, there is no judgment against her. Keep that in mind. For the man found the girl out in the country, and though the betrothed girl screamed, there was no one to rescue her. And if a man happens to meet a virgin who is not pledged to be married and rapes her, they are discovered, he shall pay the girl's father 50 shekels of silver. He must marry the girl, for he has violated her. He can never divorce her as long as he lives. So here it is. The God of Israel is making a law. This is Torah that's saying if a man rapes a woman who isn't married, then the punishment is just 50 shekels of silver being paid, and that's it. No death penalty. And on top of that, this same God of Israel is going to allow this woman to be married to her rapist. This is what this great, mighty God and Savior is allowing in the Bible. This is God's word. The Bible is supposed to be God's express word. And here it is, God's express word is making provisions for a man to rape a virgin woman and then pay the penalty like it's a parking ticket or a speeding ticket, and that's it. And then he makes this woman marry this man. Now you tell me that's not immoral behavior being allowed to continue, because according to Psalm 76, I believe, the word of God is from generation to generation has been taught to Jacob. This is a law that they supposed to enact. Now this is the Torah, the Tanakh, the Kadishah. Now I want to take a look at our dear brother King David for a second. And I want to go to 2 Samuel chapter 11. Because this is a man after God's own heart. Okay? This is the king that the God of Israel chose. And this king is supposed to reflect the God of Israel. He's supposed to be the shining light, the example of God on earth. But here it is, we got this great and mighty king doing some weird stuff. So we're going to start in 2 Samuel chapter 11, because my brother painted Bathsheba out as if she was the one in the wrong, but that's not the case. Now, before I go there, I want to read an article in regards to our dear brother King David. Now, this is from people.brandon@cu, and this is an article written on Canaanite culture by a theologian named K.L. Knoll. And I want you to pay particular attention to what this gentleman is saying. The morality of the divine patron can seem foreign to modern sensibilities. For example, since Egypt, Near Eastern society was patriarchal, treating women as subordinate to men, it flows logically that the divine patron also treated women this way. A biblical example illustrates the point. In 2 Samuel chapters 11 and 12, King David covets another man's wife, takes her, and later kills the husband. When the woman becomes pregnant, according to the story, the patron God, Yahweh, is angry. But not because David has raped and murdered. Yahweh expresses disgust that David has taken the wrong man's wife. For he, Yahweh, is eager to give David the wives of other men if David desires. As punishment for David's sin, the woman's child shall die, and another man shall rape several of David's other wives. And you can find that in 2 Samuel chapter 12, verses 9 through 14. The moral values of Canaanite culture clearly on display in this tale. The divine patron punishes another man by killing a child and orchestrating the rape of another woman. The divine patron protects the property of males by violating or destroying the property of other males. Religious morality is a byproduct of social justice. So what does that mean? The Torah was basically the government. So If the law has a prejudice, society's going to have a prejudice, and vice versa. So here it is, we have the mighty King David, who was sending messengers. He took Bathsheba. Who can she cry out to? Who is she going to say that, hey, this man raped me? This man didn't even know who Bathsheba was. He had to inquire. And once he found out that Uriah, who had fought in his war, and that Eliam, who was her father, was also one of David's guards, even though he knew that then, he still pursued the idea and he took this woman, which means he summoned or he fetched her. He just didn't let her just come on her own. She didn't even know that the man was watching her. And the God of Israel did not step in and block this act. He didn't keep David from evil. He didn't keep his foot from slipping. In fact, he allowed it to happen. The woman becomes pregnant and David tries to cover it up. And the way we know that it's rape is because David is punished with the same measure, so to speak. But the Creator, the God of Israel, punishes the child for another man's sin. He breaks his own law. Because according to the law, because there was no punishment on Bathsheba for this act in 2 Samuel 11-4, the punishment fell on David. And according to the law, the one who violated the betrothed's husband, he shall die. But then in Deuteronomy 24, the son shall not die for the sins of the father, and the child dies instead of David. The Creator didn't even obey his own rule. He condoned this act. He could have easily blocked it. And that's my 20 minutes. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Shout out to Brother Nkosi. Let's get into this rebuttal, man, because everybody's dropping science around here, and we're going to see who has.
So you there, brother?
Huh? We're going to see who has the better argument. So, with that being said, it's on you, Private Hebrew, for the rebuttal, family. We're going to go ahead and set the timer for 10 minutes. Let's get our rebuttal on, family. Whenever you're ready, brother. Do you need to share screen?
Yeah, my mouse is wrong, so
You sound low, brother.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right, hold on. Hold on, brother. Hold on. You know what? I'll just run it like this. All right. Yeah, you go ahead and start. All right, family. I got to set a few things straight. First off, the brother has not shown you rape. Okay, this brother has given you a bunch of conjecture and he's pulled on your heartstrings. He's shown you how they go into Midian in Numbers 31 and so, oh, these people were so nice to them and then they went to war with them. He didn't show how those same Midianites led them astray to worship strange gods. All right. And he didn't show any rape in terms of that situation as it pertains to Numbers 31, right? He didn't show any sexual intercourse. He didn't show these people grabbing people. He said that they kept them for themselves. And then he immediately showed how kept them for themselves, meaning he took them to Moshe. They took them to Moses, then went outside the camp and sat out there for 7 days. And then they had to come back in the camp and then they divided the spoils of war. That's what happened. And you still don't see these people having sex with anybody. I just wanted to get that one out because that one was really on my mind. All right, now, he says that God makes provisions for certain acts. We don't see that. I just got to go through this list. He says that men have the right to take, basically. We don't see that. Provisions to cover up certain things. We don't see that. We see the Bible being truthful. We see it showing what these people were doing. When somebody messes up, it shows you, right? It shows you clearly that Tamar was raped. It shows you clearly that the concubine was raped. Why wouldn't it say kazak or rape as it pertains to Bathsheba? Why wouldn't it say that? Why wouldn't Bathsheba go tell her father? Her father's one of David's mighty men. At least tell him. Why doesn't it say any of that? That's just weird to me. All right. So now let's get into it. All right, so he said I didn't read the whole section of Deuteronomy 22. I'm gonna show you something. And I find it strange that we can't get the brother to tell you what version of the Bible he's reading from, because he read rape on this particular verse. And I'm going to show you why he read that and why he doesn't want to, or he didn't think to or remember to bring up what version he was reading from. And I'll get to that at the end. All right, so yeah, let me go ahead and share this screen. All right, there we go. So I'll show you what I read, and I'll show you why I read it. And I did read exactly what he read. Now, Exodus 22, this is a law against fornication. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. This means that if he lie with her and have sex with her, sexual intercourse with her, not rape her, he has to make her his wife. If the father utterly refused to give her to him, he shall pay the money according to the dowry. Now, here's the verse that he pulled the wool over your eyes. All right. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her. Well, actually, he read 25. So 25 shows that this woman gets raped. But I'll show you this verse just in case I missed it. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold of her and lie with her, and they be found. They be found. That means that they were having consensual sex. Then the man that lie with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her. Let me go back up real quick, because I want you to see the verse that explains what happens to a rapist, because this is your kill shot. Right? So if the Bible condones rape, tell me why it says this. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field and the man force her, kazak, we don't see that anywhere else in these verses, because this is denoting rape. The man force her and lie with her. Then the man only that lie with her shall die. Right? But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is in this damsel no sin, because this is like when a man rises against his neighbor and slayeth him. That's your rape, not anything else. Any other verse that's going to say something like that is another version of the Bible, and I'm going to show you why he did that. I'm going to show you why people get this wrong. All right. Scholars argue about this. Biblical translators argue about this 24/7. About how you translate a Bible. See, it's not really going back to, whether it's the Masoretic text or the Septuagint. This is what it goes to. All right. He was already ready for this. Let's get it. Which Bible version should I use? This is really easy. All right. This is an article called The Equivalence in Translation Theory, a Critical Evaluation. Contrary to linguistic-oriented approaches to translation, which assume that the source text occupies the supreme position and that is considered to be of crucial importance in determining not only the translation process, but also to the extent which has been successful, target-oriented approaches, which is what we're dealing with in many of these versions, like the NIV or the ESV or various versions that you'll get to, view the source text as the point of departure. So they get away from the source text as the point of departure for the translation process and mostly focus on the cultural, historic, social, political factors surrounding the translation. So they get to interpret what they want to with the Bible. Oh, well, these people were patriarchal, but I've shown you how these people love their women. So you explain to me why they would prescribe these things to this, because they're dealing with various groups of people in one region and they want to put a narrative. This is what the NIV does. Despite its shortcomings, right? The article explains its shortcomings. It should be stressed that equivalence is still one of the pivotal definitory axes of translation, since it functions as a reminder of central problems a translator encounters during the translation process. All right. So let me break this down for you, because I said a lot of stuff, said a lot of words. What is this guy talking about? All right. This is a guy named Eugene Nita, PhD, American linguist who developed the dynamic equivalence Bible translation theory and one of the founders of the modern discipline of translation studies. As you read your Bible, you're going to deal with two different types of Bible, a dynamic equivalent and a formal equivalent, okay? The dynamic equivalent is a thought for thought. It gets away from the source, like the NIV. It can say rape when it shouldn't say rape. It can say a bunch of things that it shouldn't say because it's giving you a thought. Whereas if you deal with the KJV, and I'm not saying you got to be a KJV onlyist, but you should run these texts by each other. You should do real study. Formal equivalence. Formal equivalence basically is a word-for-word translation. translating the meanings of a word phrase in moral, literal way, keeping literal fidelity. I didn't put the source citation, but it comes from the previous article that I was just reading. All right. Now, this goes back to dealing with Genesis. All right. In the article entitled Understanding Genesis 34.2, basically a Dutch professor by the name of Ellen van Wool, who is a chief transcriptionist, she tells you that this word Anna that he keeps trying to say, or even lekek or lekat, these words should not be used as sources to translate rape, right? This is what she says. She says, Anna in the PL what's the widespread opinion that the verb Anna in the PL stem refers to rape or sexual abuse is not acceptable. Instead, she argues that this verb is used as an evaluative term in the jurisdictional context, denoting a spatial movement towards in a social sense. Thus, Anna should be translated to debase or defile, like I said, right? He took her virginity. Let me make sure I get it all this. He said Deuteronomy 20:10-14 talks about plunder. Once again, this brother didn't show you rape, right? Deuteronomy 20:10-14 doesn't show you rape. Deuteronomy or Numbers 31:7 through wherever the Israelites fight, it doesn't show rape. None of this shows rape. Now we're talking about, does the Bible condone rape? Not murder, not. If you wanted to have a morality debate about the Bible, then that's what we should have debated. But you wanted to debate, does the Bible condone rape? And it does not. You have not shown that at all, right? He has to explain why every time you see a rape, he brought up like Tamar, when we're dealing with any of these things, the word kazak is used for force, but nothing that this brother showed denotes rape. None of these things denote rape, right? Most of this has nothing to do with the context of what we're talking about. So at the end of the day, you have to show me these women being raped. He said I'm victim shaming Bathsheba. Bathsheba is one of my foreparents, because unlike you, I still believe I'm an Israelite. Why would I victim shame my foremother? You know who I hate? I hate Ammon for what he did to my foremother Tamar. But I can't place a rape charge on David because he didn't rape her. He was told by the Most High that he committed adultery, and that he took another man's wife, and that he did a murder. Now, you may not like the punishments, but he was punished. So any other concept, any other thing that comes from there is ridiculous. And I hate to be redundant, but once again, for my last minute, I want you to understand the brother has not showed you anything. He just played on your emotions. I went through in the first 20 minutes and destroyed all of that. There is no reason to go back over it. I won't do that to you. You people are too smart for that, family. But realize, if there is a rape in there, the Bible is one of the most honest, harshest books around. Why would it hide these men? It already shows you that they're wicked. Why wouldn't it show you exactly what it did? If David raped her, why wouldn't it say he raped her? And this thing with Lot's daughters, they were wicked as hell. They aren't condoned. They aren't looked at as patriarchs. How much problems do they have with the Moabites? Why are the Moabites looked at in a bad way in the Bible? Ask yourself that question. Like, these are silly arguments from, I don't think it's
All right. Shout out to Anonymous Hebrew for going in with that powerful closing, family. We're going to now hand this thing over to Nkosi. It's your turn, brother. We're going to go ahead and set this timer for 10 minutes. And whenever you're ready, brother, you could begin your closing.
This ain't the closing, this is the rebuttal, right?
I mean the rebuttal. Yes, sir.
All right, my fault.
Thank you. Now, real quick, the debate is not about which translation I'm using. One thing we got to remember, there is no original text. So until these scholars that he's quoting can produce for us an original text, he can't debate me about what type of translation that I'm using. Now, he keeps bringing up the fact that the Bible doesn't specifically say rape in the King James Version, but I want to read an article by a scholar named Richard M. Davidson. Andrews University Theological Seminary. Okay, and this professor is a teacher of Old Testament theology. Now, I want to read this article, and it's on page 7, and it's at section 8, and it says verbs of initiative indicating David's power rate. And this is in verse 4 of 2 Samuel chapter 11. And it says, 2 verbs found at the heart of this action-packed scene have David as their subject. David takes her. Let me read this verse to you right quick so you can understand what I'm saying, just in case you don't have a Bible. And forgive me for assuming that you did. Then David sent messengers to get her. She came to him, and he slept with her. She had purified herself from her uncleanness, then she went back home. So, in this particular verse here, David takes her and he lies with her, back at the article. The word laqua, take, in this context of sending royal messengers should probably be understood in the sense of fetch or summon, and clearly implies psychological power pressure on the part of David and not voluntary collusion on the part of Bathsheba. So remember, it was David who saw her, and we're not debating against what is David righteous or not. We're talking about the fact that this God allows David to do this. He supports this moral behavior because he didn't jump in. Now, back at the article, David sends messengers, but the verb laqah, take, has a singular masculine subject. He took her. Basically, even though it was the messengers who came to get Bathsheba, they were coming in the power of King David. Now, how is she to know that she's going to this king's palace to have sex? He fetched her. He didn't even know this woman. Remember that. Now, back at the article, although many modern versions are ambiguous at this point, giving the impression that it was the messengers who took Bathsheba to the palace, the Hebrew unambiguously indicates that he, that is David himself, by means of the messengers, to be sure, took Bathsheba. But using the term laqah, the narrator clearly implies that the primary emphasis is on the responsibility of the subject for that act. David's taking Bathsheba makes him responsible for her coming to him. The whole narrative flow here suggests Bathsheba's vulnerability once she is inside the palace, yes, even before. As Dennis Scott, this was another scholar who was involved in this article, who was there to protect her. Who is there who might protect her from the designs of the king? We are made to feel that there is none. Ermtrod Fisher elaborates, if the woman Bathsheba were to cry for help, no one would dare force his or her way into the royal chambers to rescue the woman from her rapist. The expression lay with, which is sakab m, used for sexual intercourse between David and Bathsheba, does not stress the use of overpowering physical brutality on the part of David, as in the case and terminology of the rape of Dinah and Tamar. However, as evidence in the Pentateuch in the law, according to Deuteronomy 22 through verses 25 through 27, the term lay with implied here can indeed imply rape if the context indicates such. Given the context of at least psychological coercion in this passage, the best modern expression to describe David's action is power rape, in which a person in a position of authority abuses that power to victimize a subservient and vulnerable person sexually, whether or not the victim appears to give consent. David, the king appointed by God to defend the helpless and vulnerable, becomes a victimizer of the vulnerable. So here it is, King David, using the same verbs. Laqah is basically taking a woman again, just forcing her, using his power. She doesn't know why the king is summoning her. And remember, during this story, when the king sends for Uriah, he comes immediately. So there's no refusing the king. There's no saying no to this person. And again, the God of Israel didn't step in to stop this, like he did with Sodom and Gomorrah, like he judged Miriam for speaking a word against the prophet of Moses. Listen, even when my brother spoke up about Lot and his daughters, remember, they got this man drunk. They got their own father drunk. Now, the God of Israel judged Sodom and Gomorrah for wickedness, but here it is, we got two women raping their own father. And the God of Israel allows this immoral behavior to continue. Now, the brother has brought up translations and about what kind of version I'm using, but regardless of the fact, he's hiding behind the word lakah. And remember, the Hebrew these King James Bibles have been edited. They're going to romanticize. They're going to try to paint a picture to where they can kind of beat around the bush and not be so direct about things now. But according to Deuteronomy 22, to lie with a woman and force her is rape. Whether she's married or not, they still consider it rape. Now, whether there's a penalty for it or not, we're not speaking of the penalty. It's just the fact that the God of Israel makes a law to where men can perform these acts if they're unmarried and be unscathed. Nothing happens. And remember the law of this, the punishment of a betrothed woman, the adulterer died. Remember, no judgment fell on Bathsheba. She was found guilty of nothing. In fact, when the prophet Nathan confronts King David, he calls her a lamb. Now, how can a lamb protect herself against a wolf or himself against a wolf? And this same mighty king used his power to manipulate a situation, and he took a woman. You know how many unreported rapes is going about in this Bible? When you go to Judges 21 and you see the elders making provision for wives, for men, and they took 400 women, they hid in the bushes. And then the elders said, hey, we're going to cover it up by just saying, hey, we needed to make wives for the men when the brothers and fathers of these kidnapped women come to complain. And you can find that in Deuteronomy chapter 21. And again, the God of Israel does not step in. He allows this behavior to continue. So that is my time, and I yield. Thank you.
All right, shout out to Nkosi. We're going to keep this thing rocking with the interrogation round. The interrogation round is now in effect. Before we get into that, we're just going to let you guys know that it will be on August the 8th when we get this thing started. August the 9th when we get this thing rocking and rolling. We have the 8th off for as debates. Dunzali will be going up against Inyame August 9th. The topic will be, which is the greatest music era, the 1960s or the 1990s? That'll be 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the second half of the doubleheader will be, who is the Messiah to come, King David or Jesus? That will be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that will be between Young Israel and Wida. So that will be this coming Friday. We got the doubleheader popping. Saturday, we're going to bring Orthodox Moore back in the building. He will be going up against Chris Harris. The topic will be, it's the Bible, anti-African. That'll be 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That'll be the second half of Saturday's doubleheader. We will start out with Minister Howe and King Christian. Are we already living in hell according to the Bible? They will get things popping at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so make sure you be in the building for that, family. So, with that being said, Let's get into this interrogation. Since Anonymous Hebrew went first, we will allow Brother Nkosi to do the first interrogation. We will set the timer for 10 minutes. Whenever you're ready, Nkosi, you can begin your interrogation, brother.
Peace, peace. Let's get into this. What's going on, Anonymous? You ready?
I'm ready, bro. Let's go.
I can't hardly hear you. Can you hear me?
Can y'all hear me better now?
Yeah, I can
Yes,
hear
man,
you
you're loud and clear now.
All right, yeah. What's up? Let's go, bro. Let's go.
All right, my brother. Now, define rape for me.
Like we defined in the text, any sexual act that goes against the victim's will.
Okay. Now, according to your definition, then, is it safe to say that the daughters of Lot raped him? Yes or no?
I would say no, according to my definition.
And according to your definition, why wouldn't it be rape if it's against his will?
Because we don't see what his will is. Number one, there is no anything in there that's saying that Lot rejected that or anything like that. Honestly, what it seems like is a nasty dad that's trying to have sex with his daughters. Honestly, that's what it seems like. But it does not show rape. And the main reason I would say that it does not show rape is because we're looking at some things from a perspective of, I guess you're looking at maybe like a college dorm room situation where they get somebody drunk but they didn't overpower a lot. Like they didn't, throw him down.
So stop. So you telling me that if I slipped a Mickey in your drink?
No, that's a false equivalency.
Wait a minute. Stop. This is my interrogation round. Hold on.
All right, cool.
You telling me that if I slipped a Mickey in your drink and got you to a state to where you're not in your right mind, and I perform a sexual act against you, that's not rape?
That's an anecdotal fallacy, and I can't answer that type of question. And here's why it's an anecdotal fallacy.
Yeah, why would he use it?
What you say?
Nothing. Go ahead.
That's an improper anecdote. Meaning, you're talking about slipping a Mickey, and then this guy got drunk. It doesn't say like he just got so drunk and they just ravaged him against his will. Mm-hmm. Why does the Bible make it clear when they ravaged somebody else against their will, but they didn't say that here? That's my issue. If you show me him being ravaged against his will or anybody else being taken against their will, then my brother, then I have to say, yeah, that's rape. But
so let me read, because you're doing a lot of talking.
I answered the question.
So no, okay, so you don't agree with Genesis 19 where it says, or Genesis 19 and 32. Let's get our father to drink wine and then lie with him and preserve our family line through our father. Mm-hmm. That night, they got their father to drink wine, and the older daughter went in and lay with him. He was not aware of it when she lay down or when she got up. So,
what version of the Bible are you reading?
This is an NIV.
That makes sense. Right.
Okay, we're not debating versions.
Yes, we have to debate versions. We have to debate versions.
Okay, never mind. Next question. So let me move to my next question then.
Okay.
So according to your definition, that this is an unlawful sexual act, this is not consensual. Is it safe to say that the God of Israel violated Mary by getting her pregnant according to Luke?
No.
Because did she volunteer to get pregnant?
No. Let's see. Well, I ain't gonna go there with you.
No, wait a minute. So you said no.
Hold on. You asked the question. If you can ask me a yes or no question if you want, but if you're gonna ask me an open-ended question, I'm gonna give a response.
Okay, so yes or no. So yes or no. Did Mary volunteer to get pregnant?
No. We don't see that in the text.
So according to your definition, looking at the text, I can define that the God of Israel raped Mary.
No, you cannot.
Why is that?
Because we don't see this going against her will. She doesn't say that she didn't want this to happen.
But you just said she didn't volunteer.
But she didn't say that she didn't want it to happen either. She didn't complain about it. She didn't say she didn't want it. As a matter of fact, everybody considered her blessed. Everybody considered her, the narrative shows that everybody considered this a blessing to be carrying the immaculate seed in her womb.
Right. But
idol.
she did, but you just said she didn't volunteer for it, and according to your definition, then
So my
this would be rape.
definition says go against her will. How do we see that this goes against her will? How do we see her saying I don't consent? Where do we see her saying that this is not something that I would have liked to see happen? Where do we see that at? You show me that verse. Show me where she said she didn't want that to happen.
You just told me
show
that
me
you don't.
Where she said
this
she
is
didn't want that to happen.
when it's your interrogation time. I'll answer that question.
We're trying to put words.
When it's your
I line of question.
Listen. So you just said that Mary didn't volunteer. She didn't give her consent.
Mm-hmm. No, that's not what I said. I said she didn't volunteer. But giving consent. She gave her consent by being happy about it.
Mm-hmm. She gave her consent by being happy about it.
So in other words, what I mean is we don't see her being angry. Where does the text say that she hated it or lamented it?
Does she have to get? Listen,
you're trying to conflate two different.
I'm not conflating. Let me read the scripture.
Going against someone's will means they did not want it to happen. Yes or no?
I'm not answering questions for you right now. I'm not answering questions for you, and you're not going to play that game with me. When it's your time to question me, I'll be forced to answer.
Against someone's will means
Luke chapter 1, verse 28. And the angel came in unto her and said, Hail, thou art highly favored, the Lord is with thee, blessed art thou among women. And when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, and cast in her mind what manner of salutation should this be. And the angel said unto her, Fear not, Mary, for thou hast found favor with God, and behold, thou shalt bring forth and conceive in thy womb, and bring forth a son, and call his name Jesus. And he shall be great, and he shall be called the Son of the Highest, and the Lord God shall give unto him the throne of his father David. But it also says that in verse 35, and the angel answered and said unto her, The Holy Ghost shall come upon thee, and the power of the highest shall overshadow thee. Mm-hmm. So can you define that word overshadow for me, please?
It just means that the power of the Holy Spirit will allow her to be pregnant.
So the Holy Spirit, without her...
Please don't say the Holy Spirit has sex with Mary.
So So is Jesus' birth natural
or
spiritual?
No, it is what we would call a virgin birth. She never had sex. There was no sexual intercourse.
I understand that.
The text does not say that she.
But she had a child, so she conceived.
Right.
So the point of the matter is, you just said that she didn't volunteer. So the Lord God of Israel.
You're not going to put that on me. I didn't say that it was against her will, because you cannot prove that.
Okay.
To go against someone's will, you have to prove intent. You have to prove that they were against, that they did not want that situation to happen. Once again, we see this in the text all different types of times. We see throughout the book where people say no. Mm-hmm. No, I don't want that to happen. Oh, I'm not happy about this happening. We never once see that happening with Mary or Bathsheba for that matter.
Okay. Now, in Deuteronomy chapter 22.
Yeah, let's go.
Is there a difference in the law when it comes to rape between a married woman and an unmarried woman?
No.
There's not a difference.
No. Show me, what do you mean? In terms of what?
So in regards to the penalty, if a betrothed woman is raped mm-hmm. or violated mm-hmm. against her will without her volunteering, mm-hmm. he's punished by death. But an unmarried woman is not punishable by death. Is that not a difference in the law?
Where do you see that an unmarried woman that's raped is not punishable by death? Where do you see that?
In verses, let's see,
28 and 29, because you're reading the NIV, correct?
No, I'm reading from the King James, says that's what she prefers. Yeah, so if a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, mm-hmm. and he lay hold on her mm-hmm. and lie with her, mm-hmm. and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver.
Now go back up to 25 about rape. Now go back to the rape.
But that's a married woman. Notice the difference.
Read
But
the
if
verse.
a man,
Read
but
the
if a
verse.
man find a betrothed damsel in the field, this is an engaged woman,
Verse, though.
and the man force her and lie with her.
Did you say the man does what?
Force her
Do we
and
see
lie
that
with
in
her.
verse 28? Do we see that in verse 28?
Lay hold on her is the same thing.
No, it is not. No, it is not. Look it up in the Hebrew. There are two different words. The word used in verse 25 is kasak. The word used for lay with her or take hold of her in the other verse is, I want to say it's either lakak or not. But it is
Time. All right. Shout out to Nkosi for the interrogation. We're going to give Anonymous Hebrew the same opportunity. Anonymous Hebrew, you have 10 minutes to interrogate Nkosi. Whenever you're ready, you can begin your interrogation, brother.
All right, let's go. Shalom, Mike. This is fun. I appreciate you for, you know what I'm saying, taking this debate with me. So when you look in the Bible, right, yes or no, does the word took, is that also used for a man when he takes a wife lawfully?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. When you look in the Bible, does the word defile? Does that also mean it can mean humble somebody, take her virginity, right? Things like that. Yes or no?
No.
That's false. Okay. I'll bring that out in my closing statement. Make sure I point that out. The brother just told an untruth. I'm not gonna call you a liar though. So when we have these words and they can be used differently, how are you supposed to determine whether or not a rape act has happened?
By looking at the context.
Thank you. So if we're looking at context, yes or no, if something is happening against someone's will, it's safe to say that we have to look at them saying no, right? Yes or no?
Say that one more time, brother.
I'll rephrase it. I'm sorry. Does the Bible make it clear when people say no to something? As in the situation with Tamar. Did it make it clear that she said no?
In that situation, yes.
Right. Are you familiar with the word kozak?
Somewhat.
All right. So the word kozak is the word used for forcible intercourse in every situation that I brought out. So when we deal with the Bethlehem Judah concubine, it says that they took her, and that word took is kozak, right? When you look at Tamar, it says he was stronger than her. That word is kozak. Then he anah and shakah, right? Then he took her and laid with her. Do you see the correlation between that? Yes or no?
Between
Deuteronomy 25, where it says kozak, and that's forcible rape, and that man should be killed. Between Judges 19 with the concubine, and between 2 Samuel 13 or 12. I want to say.
No, I don't see the connection.
So once again, then let's run it one more time. Yes or no? Is kozak? Yes or no? Is kozak used in Deuteronomy to show force?
Deuteronomy what?
Deuteronomy 22 and verse 25, the one you said where the man forced her and lay with her. Do you know what that word is?
I'm looking at the word right now. Yes.
Yeah, take your time, brother. Take your time.
I'm looking at the word right now, and it's to seize. Yes, okay.
And what is it?
To seize.
Right. Now,
be strong.
Right. Now, can you go and look at Deuteronomy 22, verse 28, please?
And what word are we looking for?
What does it say? The man take, does it say take or lay hold?
Lay hold.
What is that word used for lay hold?
Tafas.
So tafas is a completely different word than kozak. Do you agree?
Yeah, somewhat.
Okay, so can we go, since you want to do some quick word study, are you familiar? I don't want to take you all the way around there. All right, so yes or no then, the the Bible is clear about the word that it uses for forcible intercourse, that it calls forcible rape. Yes or no?
Yes, it is.
Yes, thank you. So, was that word kazak used pertaining to Bathsheba?
No, it was lakah.
Thank you, sir.
But it was the form. But it was the
Yes
way
or
in
no,
which.
bro? I said yes or no, bro. Because like you said, we have to look at context. And if we
Right.
look at context, as we look at Tamar, yes or no, did Tamar say nay in the context of that scripture?
No, she couldn't.
She did say, Tamar?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, she did.
Tamar said nay, correct?
Yes, she did.
So what proof do you have that Bathsheba was not able to say no? Where does it say that David strong-armed her or kazaked her or made it to where she couldn't say anything?
With the article I had just read.
Now that article is conjecture, though. I'm talking about as it pertains to the scripture.
What make okay?
You don't even know that brother's credentials, brother. Calm down, calm down. I don't have to agree with your article. It's your article, but I don't have to.
I'm not saying that, anonymous. You're not. I mean, you doing more preaching than you question.
I'm not preaching. I'm asking you questions, and I'm allowing you to answer. So, I'm going to stay along this line of questioning because I want to drive this point home.
Okay.
How did you come to the conclusion, other than outside of that article? Mm-hmm. How did you come to the conclusion that Bathsheba was raped by David?
Because I'm looking at the context and I'm looking at the power that which David had. Remember, you have to have. I'm not done.
Okay, sorry.
You have to have a witness to verify this rape. You have to have somebody that can second that emotion.
What does that say that in the law?
Listen, if there was no one to do let's go back to Deuteronomy 22.
Well, please go back to Deuteronomy 22 and tell me where it says she needs a witness. It specifically says that she can come and cry out because no one was around. It says that she gets to come back because no one was around.
Well, go ahead and show us that, brother.
Go, bro. You went back to it. Read Deuteronomy 22. Let's go to Deuteronomy 22.
Give me 1 second here. Are you there?
I'm with you, bro. Deuteronomy 22. Start at verse, I want to say 24. Nah, 25. Start at verse 25.
All right. But if a man find a damsel in the field, and the man force her to lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die.
Okay, now go to verse 20. Now go to verse 26.
But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is no sin worthy of the death. Mm-hmm. For as when a man rises against his neighbor and slayeth him, even so is this matter. For he found her in the field and betrothed the damsel and cried, and there was no one to save her.
So there was no one there to save her. So
right. So there was no witness there.
Right. But she still got to cry rape. Did she or did she not? Otherwise,
yeah, she can still cry rape, but she still got to prove her case.
So that is my point. I am not, and I want to make this clear, I am not saying that Bathsheba was asking for it. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying that we do not see anything in the context of that scripture that says that sister was raped. And as proper adjudicators of the law, we need evidence to make these type of assumptions. We have evidence in Deuteronomy 22 of how it should be acted out. Yes or no?
Depending on the status of the damsel.
So then one more quick question. No. Whoa.
Yes. Because there's a specific law when it goes in regards to one that is betrothed. Mm-hmm. That person dies. But when it's an unbetrothed woman, that rapist don't die.
Where do you see a rapist? Where do you see a rapist for an unbetrothed woman? Show me a rapist.
He laid hold on her and took her.
That is a completely different word. Yes or no? I don't know why we got to keep playing this game.
Why are we talking about Hebrew when we need to be talking about the subject here?
That's how these words get their meaning, brother. Come on now. You use Hebrew.
So you telling me that it means to seize, to capture, to overlay, to catch, to handle.
Like I
To
asked,
surprise,
like I asked you in
he
the
forced himself on this
okay,
woman.
sir, let's go back. I'll run it back over you for the last minute since you want to play circular reasoning.
We ain't playing circle or nothing.
Does the word lakat have multiple meanings?
Yes, it does.
Can it be used for somebody just to take a wife? Yes or no?
Say that one more time.
Can
Say
it
that
be
one more time.
used for somebody to just take a wife? Yes or no?
Say it one more time, brother.
Can somebody use the word lakat to just take a wife? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. But the word kozek, where is that ever used to infer that someone just kozek the wife? You never see that used because that
You don't
is
always
word,
have to see it, Anonymous.
brother, that is the word.
You don't always have to see it.
Brother, every time we see a forcible rape in this Bible, I have proven to you what is the word that is used. I have taught you this.
So
tonight.
when he took the, so when
Yes
they took
or no? Yes
women,
or no? I'm not answering your question, bro. Yes or no? Yes or no? Whenever we see these forcible rapes, is the word kozak used in those? Yes or no?
Yes.
Why then is it not used for anything else?
It don't have to be. Anonymous.
Yes, it does.
You're making a hard fast rule.
No, that is
doing that.
So now we have to use some form of logic, right? Now we have to use some form of logic because if the word lakat can be used also for taking a wife or having any type of regular relations with a woman, then we have to look at the context of whether or not she said no. I know that sounds harsh, but that is the hard, fast rule if we're going to accuse someone of something of rape. But as we move away and we get a broader scope, right, and look at how
time. Shout out to Anonymous Hebrew for his interrogation. We're going to now get into the closing family, and we're going to hand it back over to Anonymous Hebrew. We're going to set the timer for 5 minutes. Anonymous, if you need to share a screen, I'll put up the Windows capture device. So whenever you're ready, you can begin your closing, brother.
My fault. Hold on. I had it right here doing this stuff. All right, so you can start it on. All right, family. I've made this clear, right? And I'm going to start right here, and I'm just going to roll through them because now we clearly see what this comes down to. This comes down to how the Israelites define their law. The law against adultery, we dealt with this, but I want to strictly get to rape. If the Bible condones rape, explain why does the law say that a man that rapes a woman shall die? Because it doesn't condone rape. But if the man that find a betrothed damsel in the field and the man force her, kazak, to lie with her, and then that man only that lie with her shall die. These men, I showed you several scenarios. I showed you the Bethlehem Judah concubine. I showed you Tamar's rape. I showed you even a situation with Dinah, and this brother fell into exactly what I was talking about. When you deal with Lakat as opposed to Kazak, now we have to get context. And if you are dealing with rape, which is one of the most serious situations that any of these brothers would ever want to find themselves into, I would ask you to have the same accountability that you want anyone to have towards you. We are responsible adults. We have to do that. And what the responsible adult says is, how are we going to adjudicate these situations? And what do we see? And we have to see that this man forced her. I love my brother Nkosi. He is actually one of the brothers on that team that I really enjoy because he's just a straightforward brother. But tonight he has played circular reasoning with you. I told you I would show you that the context of the matter would be important, but I also told you that my brother would deal with general hastizations, meaning he has come to a conclusion without any proof. He has not shown the Bible making it okay to rape these people. He's giving you a narrative of a situation that he sees and then says, oh, this is rape, and then play on your heartstrings. But what we have to do is be adults and look, because the Bible is clear. It tells you when it is a rape. It is not trying to hide it. This is something else that the brother said, that they're hiding things and they're playing this game. Everybody out here will admit that there are some heinous things that happens in this Bible. If they were trying to hide things, as much as people love David, they wouldn't have made any bad things in this book about him. But instead, they show him committing adultery. They show him conspiring for murder, and they show him getting punished for these things. But they don't show him being a rapist. So this concept that the Bible will condone rape has not been proven tonight. But on the other hand, I have proven to you that not only does the Bible not condone rape, it shows you exactly what they do when there is a rape. The people are killed. It has created civil wars in this book behind women being raped, i.e., the children of Israel versus the Benjamites when they went through that city and they burned every house to the ground that they could. This is not a game, brothers and sisters. We have to take this thing very seriously and say, I love you, Nkosi, but tonight you just didn't get it done. Conjecture does not work. And the reason that I went into explaining the different forms and the different versions of the Bible is because of a situation where an NIV will say rape, but the KJV and other various versions will not say rape in certain places because they are able to make a distinction because it is a word for word translation. Not saying any of them are perfect, but when it comes to getting to the brass tacks, you want to make sure that you're getting to the core of the matter. And the core of the matter is, I said 15 shots to this brother's premise and he didn't touch one. Ask yourself about that. I sent 15 shots and half the things I brought up, he didn't even come back and address. But a lot of the things I brought up, he did agree to. He agreed that lakak, the word used for take, is used in multiple ways. He agreed that kazak is not used in multiple ways, that it is a forcing of rape. He agreed that when we see that there is a punishment or a penalty of death in the scripture. That is game, set, match. Case closed. Nothing else to talk about. Do not pass go. Do not collect your $200 because the game is over. You have to prove rape if you're going to make these accusations. If the brother wanted to debate morality or anything like that, then that's what we should have debated. But we specifically debated two things, rape and is it condoned? And as it pertains to this Bible, rape is not condoned. Shalom, family. I'll yield with 20 seconds left.
Shout out to Anonymous Hebrew for closing that thing out with fire. It's Nkosi time now. We're going to go ahead and set the timer for 5 minutes. Nkosi, you have 5 minutes to close this thing out, brother, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Now remember, the topic of the debate is, does the Bible condone rape? Remember, the definition for condone is to accept and allow behavior that is considered morally wrong or offensive to continue. So basically, what we're saying is that this great and mighty God, who, yes, he has laws when it comes to the rape of a married woman, that man should die, yet he refrains from punishing a man who rapes an unmarried woman. And we can play all the word games and, as you want to say, circular arguments all you want, but we still reading the same text. And remember, rape is something that's done to you against your will. Raping prisoners of war is considered a war crime. And here it is, the God of Israel in Deuteronomy chapter 20 is saying that when you have battle, you can just take the women and take the little ones and take the cattle. So these women are not condoning to this. I mean, they're not accepting this. This is what the God of Israel is just allowing. Even in the situation where we brought up with David. Remember, the betrothed woman who was violated, and that there was found no judgment against her because she didn't commit adultery, but she was actually raped, then the man dies. David was the actual rapist. Remember, Nathan never pronounced one judgment on Bathsheba. And according to the law, she had to stay with this man. She made this choice, or she had this put upon her. So we have to remember that we're not talking about necessarily the judgments of it. It's the provision made. It's the fact that the God of Israel didn't step in when we have all these curious cases of rape. Daughters getting their dad drunk. The God of Israel doesn't step in. He doesn't even judge them. In fact, those two sons grow to be mighty nations. Numbers 31, when Moses commanded the Israelites to kill all the women, and then he said the women who married, knock them off, but the young virgins you can keep. He's condoning these rapes. He's signing off on them. He's going to turn a blind eye. He's going to wink at that. So we're not here to debate which translations it is because, like I said earlier, there is no original manuscript. So we have to get over that. But the fact remains is that the Creator, the God of Israel, according to the Israelites, is making clear provisions for young women to be raped, whether they're Israelites or not Israelites. If these men get a notion from God that he's already signed off that these people can rape. So with that, I'll close. Thank you.
Uh-oh. Shout out to Nkosi for closing this thing out. Family, now it's time. It's time. Oh yeah, it's time, family, for the interrogation round. So we're going to see who can survive Solar Mind's interrogation. Who's going to shuckle buck? Who do you want me to interrogate first, family? Is it Nkosi or is it Anonymous? 1 for Nkosi, 2 for Anonymous. Who do you want me to interrogate first? Yes, sir, family. Let's see how this thing pans out. Okay, we look pretty even thus far. Interesting. Yeah, this is pretty even. I really have to count this shit for real. What's going on? Okay. 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 I reloaded. I gotta get my reloaded joint back up here. You motherfuckers wanna play rough? Y'all done voted like a million times. We just gonna go with my man. My main man. All right, we'll start out with Anonymous. Y'all have an influence.
I knew it was coming. What's happening? What's happening?
My main man. Anonymous.
What's happening?
All right, what's going on, Anonymous? What is your definition of rape, brother?
As we defined, to sexual actions, forcibly sexual actions against someone's will.
Okay. Are there any examples of that happening in the Bible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you give me one?
Yeah, so Tamar in second, you want me to read it or you want me to just tell you?
Yeah, you can just say it. I mean, you read it already. So you just go ahead.
So Tamar is the best example that we see. She is actually with her half brother, I guess, basically, and he rapes her. She says no. She says, "Nay, don't do this. We should not do this." And he still forces her and has sex with her.
Okay. Do you consider in the story of Lot? Do you consider that a form of rape when the daughters got their father drunk and had sex with him?
No, I don't. But also, this is at a time where they are lawless at this time, and so we see several different things that are happening. But I don't consider that to be a form of rape.
Why?
Because we don't see him say, just like we see with Tamar, right? So I'm not saying that I agree with what they did, but we also don't see him say, no, we don't see that. And that was my premise is if we're going to judge someone's will, then we have to hear it from them.
So, brother, you don't like the Bill Cosby case, right?
Right.
And not saying that, pushing aside that actually happened and he is guilty for what was the accusations, right?
Right.
What would be the significance of him putting Quaaludes inside of someone's drink?
What do you mean? What would be the significance? He drugged them and raped them.
Right. So what would be the purpose of him drugging them?
I don't know. I can't speak to that man's intent.
No, I'm just saying, is a reason why he did that.
But I don't know. I don't know that, right? Because some of these women are his story, and there were all types of different stories.
All right, so let's take a step back so it could be a little more clear.
Right.
They have a drug they call the date rape drug.
Right.
Why would a person use that drug? What would be the purpose of them putting that drug into somebody that is unaware? What would be the purpose of them putting that inside of their drink?
You're asking me to speak to intent. Now, if you want to say, is it their purpose to get someone off they square?
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm saying, brother.
Right, but I'm not that weird ass person doing that shit, so I can't speak to the intent.
Yeah, well, I mean, anybody with any form of sense knows that, okay, the reason why that person that is, accused of date rape, the reason why he would use that drug is to put that person in an inebriated position so he could take advantage of them. That would be the purpose.
Well, I would say that the Lot situation would be different because they did this.
So how would the Lot situation be different if
because they did this 2 days in a row? Number one. So I guarantee you, he woke up the next day and at least he had sex. And then they did it the second night, and then later on, like I said, now with the Bill Cosby situation, since we're going to ride the Bill Cosby narrative, how do we know?
All right. So wait. Before we deal with the Bill Cosby. So you're saying that before we deal with the Bill Cosby, you're saying that within the story is letting you know that they got him drunk before this action occurred, correct?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Why do you think that they mentioned that in the story?
Because they wanted to show everybody in this case being wicked. They showed them doing it, and then they showed him being cool with it. And I'm going to tell you why he's cool with it.
So you're saying that the reason why they mentioned that he was a drunk is because of what?
Because they wanted to get him drunk and have sex with him.
Oh, just for no apparent reason, they just decided to get him drunk.
They said they wanted to do it so they could preserve his seed. That's what they said. That's the reason.
So you're not really explaining why they got him drunk.
It just explained to preserve his seed. I'll read it.
To preserve his seed, that's why they got him drunk.
Yes, they said, and it came to pass in the morning that the first point said unto the younger, behold, I lay yesterday with my father. Let us make him drink wine this night also, and go thou in and lie with him, that we may preserve seed for our father.
Right.
So you're not gonna make me add to the text.
So they have to get him drunk to preserve his seed?
That's what they chose to do.
I am totally unclear with that answer, but we're gonna move forward.
No, I want to use the Bill Cosby scenario though.
Okay, go ahead, brother.
Because here's where I say now we're dealing with the later on situation. The text says that they had kids, right? So where do we see Lot being mad about this situation? The only reason we know about Bill Cosby is because women cried out and said that he did something. That's why I told you, if you're really going to go there, it's an anecdotal fallacy. Because if that's the case, then why don't we see Lot crying out saying, oh my God, you raped me, you did something to me? Because you know what we do see when that happened to Noah. And this is why I keep telling y'all need to stop playing. Because what happened to Noah, he got up and said he cursed somebody for doing whatever they did to him while he was drunk. He cursed them. Lot didn't do none of that.
Okay. So from what I'm hearing, the significance of him mentioning that they got him drunk was to preserve his seed. That was the answer, right?
That's what the text said.
Okay, so
but you didn't want to deal with that Noah scenario, did you?
What? You said what?
Why you didn't deal with the Noah scenario?
Because I didn't want to.
I didn't think so.
So why I gotta mention the Noah scenario?
Because it made my point. Because it made my point valid. That's why.
What are you talking about the Noah scenario?
Because when Noah got drunk, and then whatever it is that happened to him in his tent, he woke up and cursed people. Lot woke up and did it again. So, to me, that's nasty.
So everybody got to do the same thing and respond to a certain situation the same way?
No, but you have to say something. That's the thing. You have to say something. How do I know?
So are you suggesting that? Wait, hold on, wait. Are you suggesting that? Are you suggesting that, brother?
Tell you what I'm
suggesting. Since you wanted to bring that up, so you're suggesting that, brother, you gotta listen right now. You're suggesting that every rape case, somebody said something.
When you say every rape case, you mean every rape case
that's what you're trying to insinuate.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
All right, so why would he have to say something?
Or not? No, in order for us to know what happened, in order for us to know.
But you just said, according to your definition.
In order for us to know.
According to your definition.
In order for us to know.
According to but they said the story.
Are you gonna let me answer, or are you just gonna?
No, what I'm saying right now is according to the story. According to the story, bro. According to the story.
And according to the story,
they got him drunk and then had sex with him.
And then they did it again.
So all I was asking was, why did they get him drunk?
And I told you what the text said.
To preserve his seed.
No, I didn't say that. The Bible said.
Okay, cool. That doesn't make any sense to me. But cool.
You gotta like the Bible. That's on you. You already know.
All right, so hey, look, but guess what? I'm not judging. I'm just shucklebucking your ass right now.
Yeah, ain't nobody
so we can move forward.
You guys showed up because I planted that Noah thing out.
Okay, brother. We can move forward. We'll see. We'll see. I will see too. Did God rape Mary?
No, not at all.
So is there any indication that Mary had consensual intercourse with God?
No. There's no indication that Mary had intercourse at all.
Okay. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 21.
Yeah, let's get it.
The wolves are in the building, family.
Where we going? We're going what?
Can you read it for me, brother?
Verse.
I'm sorry. Nkosi, what is the verse in Deuteronomy 21 that was speaking of a situation, a rape?
Deuteronomy 21.
Yeah.
I wasn't in Deuteronomy 21, brother. It's Deuteronomy 20, 10 through 14.
Okay, Deuteronomy 20, 10 to 14.
Yeah.
There you go. Can you read it for me?
Verse 10. When thou comest nigh unto a city to fight against it, then proclaim peace unto it. And it shall be, if it make the answer of peace and open unto thee, then it shall be that all the people that is found therein shall be tributaries unto thee, and they shall serve thee. And it will take, and if it will make no peace with thee, but will make war against thee, then thou shalt besiege it. Verse 13. And when the Lord thy God hath delivered into thy hands, then thou shalt smite every male thereof with the edge of the sword. Verse 14. But the women and the little ones and the cattle and all that's in the city, even all the spoil thereof, shalt thou take unto thyself. Yep. And thou shalt eat the spoil of thine enemies, which the Lord thy God hath given thee. What's that? What you got?
Okay, so what is your definition of spoil?
I'll give it to you out of the book. The word spoil is shalom. It is booty, prey, or spoil. So whatever you take are the leftovers of the spoils of war. That's how this is defined there. Yes.
So what would be the process of, let's say a soldier that comes in there and he takes a woman?
Mm-hmm.
What would be the process of him, being able to, be with that woman sexually?
So if he wanted to be with her, the first thing they have to do is if they sack a city, they have to bring all the booty or all the spoils of war back to the camp of Israel. Right? Mm-hmm. So they have to come back to Israel. They have to remain outside the camp and become clean for 7 days. And then they bring everything to the Levitical priest. And the Levitical priest then separate the booty. And it's various numbers. I can go and get the exact numbers. It's one for every, like 50 people or something like that. But then it is separated. If a man was to see a woman what the verse says is, if a man sees a woman that is beautiful and he desires her, that word desire is not lust. That word desire is used of love. Like he sees a woman, he's like, okay, I want that. Then they make a situation where since she is his slave or his servant, because slavery wasn't chattel slavery like what we think, right? We're talking about like pretty much indentured servitude. She would then come to his house and go through a purification for 30 days. Now, over the course of those,
what is the purification? What would they do?
They would clean off her nails, so they say pair nails. So either maybe let them grow or maybe cut them, depending on how messed up they were. And they would shave their head, shave their hair, not as a disgrace or not a shame, but just to clean them, and then allow them to mourn for 30 days, and then they could consummate their espousal, their betrothal.
Okay, so that will be the process.
Right, that's the process.
Now, once did you say, ask the woman, do she want to be with him?
But the woman can leave at any time. I showed that in my text.
So you say what?
I showed that in my presentation, that the woman can leave anytime she wants. She's a servant. She can leave anytime she wants.
Okay, show me the verse.
All right, I got you. Pull it up here and be faster. Give me 1 second. Pull it up for you. Deuteronomy 23:15. You ready?
Yeah.
Deuteronomy 23:15. It says, "Thou shalt not deliver unto his master the servant which is escaped from his master unto thee. He shall dwell with thee, even among you, in the place which he shall choose in one of thy gates, where it liketh him best. Thou shalt not oppress him. So she can go anywhere she wants to, even if she wants to stay within the kingdom of Israel, and can't
read that again, brother.
Thou shalt not deliver unto his master the servant which is escaped. That's checkmate right there. Nothing else to talk about.
No, read the whole verse again.
Thou shalt not deliver unto his master the servant which is escaped from his master unto thee. He shall dwell with thee, even among you, in the place where he shall choose, in one of thy gates. Where
so you're saying that is pertaining to women?
Yes, that's a servant. Period. It's not just
because
you're
saying he though.
Oh, that's King James English, and you know that the word servant is gender neutral. This is not just saying a male servant.
But it is specified that he, when it made reference to, it said he.
Again, this is gender neutral. So the word
how
servant.
Do you know, how can you prove that that's gender neutral when it's clearly saying after that he?
It says he all the time when it's talking about women throughout the
Right, so you're dealing with a specific situation now where you having this woman that you want to mate with,
mm-hmm.
and like you said, you had a process of owning this woman, right? So that verse does not apply to that situation, bro.
Yes, it does, because she's
still
a
because he's
servant.
clearly saying he. Why would it be talking about a he in the context of that when it's dealing with a she? Unless the motherfuckers is gay.
Because it says servant. That word servant is a bed, right?
But now, she's just not a servant. He wants to have sex with that.
Yeah, but
so that's more than just a servant.
Now let's go to another.
So that's why it had a specific process of them acquiring that individual to have sex with. They shave her head, cut her nails. You don't do that to no manservant.
Now watch this.
Go ahead, brother.
A woman that is a bondmaid or a servant, she can be a spouse and still not be considered a wife. You want me to read this verse to you?
That'd be cool, but it ain't gonna have nothing to do with this particular situation.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does, because I told you that woman is betrothed. This is Leviticus 19:20. And whosoever lieth carnally with a woman that is a bondmaid, betrothed to a husband, and not at all redeemed nor freedom given her, she shall be scourged. They shall not be put to death because she was not free. That means she is still considered to be a servant. And as long as she is a servant, she falls under the servant laws. Once she becomes an Isha or a wife, she now has concubine or wife privileges.
Right. So what does that have to do in the
just like I said?
Hold on. What does that have to do in the context of acquiring this war booty that they speak of? Because that's the context in what they're saying. They're saying that if you want to marry this woman, or have sex with this woman, you have to go through this process.
Mm-hmm.
Shave her head, cut her nails, let her mourn for 30 days, and then you can fuck her.
But she's not your wife. She's not your wife at that point. Until you consummate that marriage, she's not your wife. She's considered a servant.
Right.
That's what the Leviticus 19:20 proves.
That's
so
all good, but what I'm saying to you is that
you're being circular right now. Brother, you're not making any sense.
Brother, you're going to chill out and listen. At what point in time did she have a say-so in this process?
When she chooses to leave. If she chooses,
you never gave an accurate verse stating that she had choosing to leave. You jumped to another situation when you're talking about service, and it was saying clearly he. So it wasn't in the context of this war that they was acquiring. What are you laughing for? It had nothing to do in the context. It had nothing to do in the context of what they were speaking of when they were acquiring war booty. Not one time did they say. Not one time did they say. Brother, listen to what I'm saying. Not one time did they say that.
What is the war booty? The war booty is considered a captive.
Brother, listen to what I'm saying.
captive.
Listen to what I'm saying, brother. You're not debating me, bro.
But you're asking
Brother,
me
you're
questions.
not debating me, bro.
I'm
What
answering your
I'm saying
questions,
to
bro.
you is that
All I'm doing is answering your questions,
okay,
bro.
brother. So you
You
gotta
want me to
listen. You gotta
answer them?
listen to the
Do
question,
you want
bro.
me to, no, you're preaching. You're
No,
not,
I'm not
you're
preaching. What I'm trying to do
proselytizing
is get
right
clarity.
now. You're proselytizing right
No,
now.
I'm not proselytizing.
Yeah, you're not asking any
No,
questions.
all
You're
I'm
just
asking
orating.
you, no, what
All
I'm
you're doing
saying
is
is that
orating.
your answer is not clear.
I gave you clear answers,
Okay,
and
you're
then you
right.
still want to orate.
We'll move forward. We'll move forward. Thanks a
Thank
lot,
you,
brother.
sir.
Nkosi,
What's up?
what is your definition of rape?
My definition of rape is unlawful sexual activity, anything that's done against your will, whether you're being intoxicated or not. If you didn't consent to it, it's against your will.
Okay, so are there any laws in the Bible that speaks against rape? Or let me rephrase the question. Are there any penalties in the Bible for a person who commits such a heinous act?
Yes, sir, it is. Deuteronomy 22, going back there.
Can you read it for me, brother?
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me return there. And it's two separate penalties, though. This is what we got to understand. I'll pick up at verse 25. It's a penalty for a woman who's engaged, and it's a penalty for a woman who's not engaged. It's two separate penalties. The law is not consistent. Now, but if picking up at verse Deuteronomy 22:25, but if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die. But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. For as when a man rises against his neighbor and slayeth him, even so is this matter. For he found her in the field, and the betrothed damsel cried, and there was no one to save her. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and he lay hold on her and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he has humbled her. He may not put her away all his days.
All right, so can you give me any examples of a person violating that law and being punished for it?
And to which state, in regards to a betrothed woman or an unbetrothed woman?
To a betrothed woman. Let's start with that.
All right. So with a betrothed woman, from looking at King David, and you look at the punishments that was levied on him, let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 12. Now, we're going to look at verses 19. Starting at 2 Samuel 12 and 9. Wherefore thou hast despised the commandment of the Lord, to do evil in his sight. Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of this sun. For thou did it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun. Now, Absalom ended up doing the same thing to David's wives. He took his wives in clear view in front of the people. He just took all of David's concubines and just had sex with them. And you can find that in 2 Samuel 16,
So,
Starting
is there any indication that this was forced?
this was the judgment, and this is what the Lord said will happen to David, and this was the measure that was being meet to him. Since you raped and took somebody's
All right.
wife,
So, what was the penalty?
the penalty was that the same sword would be rose up in David's house, and Absalom did the same thing to all of David's concubines. He just took them in the sight of all Israel, according to 2 Samuel 16:22.
So, would that mean that it was not condoned?
That would mean it was not condoned. We don't. Let me say it like this: we never get the opinion of the victim, but from reading it and just looking at it, this is a man this is the king's son who's trying to take over, and he just took all of David's wives.
But he was penalized for that, right?
He ended up dying because they fought a war, but he wasn't penalized on the spot, and that ain't why he died.
Was he penalized or was he not penalized?
No, he wasn't.
So you say he was not penalized?
Not at that point, no.
Anonymous Hebrew.
What's up, Pop?
Was he penalized for what is being suggested here, brother?
What was y'all talking about, David or Absalom?
Absalom.
Not that day. No, the brother killed him. No, he killed him. He plotted on him. He waited and plotted on him and killed him.
And that was because of what he done, right?
Yes, because he done. He said because you forced my sister. Yeah, it said he was wroth with him. He didn't even want to talk to him no more. He said they said he didn't have any feelings towards him, yes or like good or bad. He just waited and bid his time, and then he had his servants kill him.
All right, so brother.
Wait a minute, are you talking about Tamar, Anonymous, or are you talking about Absalom?
We was talking about Absalom.
Yeah, we was talking about Absalom when he raped Tamar, correct?
No, he didn't rape Tamar.
Oh, Absalom. My fault. I thought you was asking did he kill Ammon. All right, what's the question again? I wasn't even paying attention. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Nkosi. What was you just saying, brother?
He was like he wasn't quite engaged in the conversation, so he had got the story mixed up a little bit, where he said that Absalom had died for raping Tamar, but he's got the wrong brother in mind. That's all I was saying. He got it mixed up.
So what was he penalized?
No, I didn't say Absalom died. I said he killed Ammon for raping him. That's what I said.
But we talking about Absalom, brother.
Right.
Well, so did Absalom was accused of raping someone?
Dude, he just took this woman. He just took these women.
So that's what I'm saying. Like,
what about they rights?
All right, so can you give any indication that was rape, brother?
Okay. Give me 1 second here. Now I'm gonna look at verse. We're gonna look at verse 22.
Where y'all at right now?
2 Samuel.
17.
16.
All right, almost. All right.
Actually, let me start at 20. Then Absalom said to Ahithophel, "Give counsel among what we shall do." And Ahithophel said unto Absalom, "Go in unto thy father's concubines, which he hath left to keep the house, and all Israel shall hear that thou art abhorred of thy father. Then shall the hands of all that are with thee be strong." So they spread Absalom a tent upon the top of the house, and Absalom went into his father's concubines in the sight of Israel, and the counsel of Ahithophel, which he counseled in those days, was as if a man had inquired at the oracle of God. So was all the counsel of Ahithophel, both with David and with Absalom. So this man felt like telling Absalom to go into his concubines and just take his daddy's wives was the word of God. This is what was authority.
At what point? No, wait. So how are you just going to jump to the conclusion that he was raped, though, bro?
Because he just went into his wives. Where is
that? Like what? I mean, like Like, how do you know that they, was against that?
Because look, you going back to verse 20.
I mean, no, I'm just saying, like, you read it. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah,
how
just saying
like,
it.
how is that enough evidence to say that they were raped, bro?
Brother, rape, we don't see, y'all got a idea of rape where it just got to be forced.
No,
And
no, I no, I'm not. I'm saying, what I'm saying to you is that what you just read is not enough evidence to say that they were raped, bro. It's just not.
Okay, but that's your opinion.
No, I mean, that's just a fact. You read. Okay, he conquered them, and those were his wives. I mean, maybe adultery, but
Okay,
rape.
so let me tell you, so let me read the definition of rape for you again. Unlawful sexual activity and unusual sexual intercourse carried out forcibly or under threat of injury against the age or incompatible, or somebody that's incapable of being able to defend
And
themselves.
there's no way that you could apply that to what you just read, bro.
So if you were a concubine of another man, and here come his son,
I
and
don't
he
use
just
me as
take
an
you,
example, bro.
and he just take you, and he just go
He
into
gonna talk to
you
me if I'm a
in front of
concubine. I
everybody.
would never be a
That ain't
concubine.
violating you.
No, bro, I'm not answering that question. Like, you use me as an
Okay,
example.
then. All right.
I'm nobody's concubine, brother.
Okay.
What I'm saying to you is, how are you just gonna jump out the window and just say, "Oh, that's rape"? That's just like, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, a guy's chilling with his girlfriend, and the guy beats that dude up and tell him, like, if you come around her again, I'm gonna beat your ass some more. And then later on, them two had sex. Like, how are you just gonna say that? Well, yeah, he had to rape her because he was with her at first. That's all. That's your logic. You're saying just because that those was his concubines,
Mm-hmm.
and that he took his concubines, that's just automatically rape. You can't say that. How's that enough evidence for you to say that they are being raped, brother?
Because you're looking at what the actions that he took and the judgment that was pronounced against him, man, by the prophet. So when you seeing him just taking his father's concubines, his father's women, and he just taking them and making them his, and defaming them in front of everybody to where everybody know now, and they said it was gonna make him abhorred of his father. You know he did something that wasn't cool.
Well, I mean, yeah, a horde of his father. I mean, but I'm just saying that that's just not enough evidence to indicate that there was rape going on. But we can move forward. So you're suggesting that there are rules and conditions stipulating that if you rape somebody, you will be penalized. Does that exist in the Bible?
Yes, there is.
So how would the Bible condone rape then? If that rule is in the Bible that if you rape somebody, this will happen.
Because the Bible could have made, or the Torah could have clearly had a law like thou shalt not murder, right? So just plotfully just doing something evil, we know that's wrong to murder or kill your neighbor or your brother. But when it comes to rape, there are conditions. And there's a condition for a woman who's married. You clearly see that. And then you see there's a condition for the woman who's not married. There's a difference. One rapist dies when it's someone who's betrothed. But then the other one who rapes somebody or takes somebody's, makes her captive, according to that word tafas, which is to take hold or to lie with her or force her or lay hold with her. It deals with somebody who's doing something against their will. And when you rape that woman who's not married, it's just a heavy penalty to pay in cash.
So that means that they don't condone it, bro. You just
Condone
don't
it
like the penalty.
to accept or allow behavior that is considered morally
But
wrong
I'm just
or
saying, like,
abusive.
you just don't like the penalty.
Doc, we're not talking about the penalty though, brother. We're talking about the fact that the God of Israel makes a provision for it. It's times where he makes it clear that they can do this to other people when it comes to war.
Can you
You
give
talking
me
about
an example of
I'm
that,
talking
brother?
about the act.
Give me an example of them saying that you could just rape somebody without any retribution, without any penalty, that you could rape this woman and nothing is going to happen to you.
Let's go to Judges 21.
Okay.
And you look at the women of Shiloh. Now this is a long chapter. I'm not gonna sit up here and try to read this whole chapter. But let's get
get to the point. I mean, a couple
okay.
verses
Yeah,
that, you know.
I got you, bro. I got you. All right. So it's a situation where we have some men who don't have no wives. This tribe of Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
They look for some wives, and here it is. They done killed everybody in this city, and it's not enough wives for all the men. So they made up this plot. In verse 16, it says that then the elders of the congregation said, how should we do for wives for them that remain, seeing that the women are destroyed out of Benjamin? And they said, there must be an inheritance for them that be escaped of Benjamin, that a tribe be not destroyed out of Israel. Howbeit we may not give them wives of our daughters, for the children of Israel have sworn, saying, cursed be he that giveth a wife to Benjamin. Then they said, behold, there is a feast of the Lord in Shiloh yearly in a place which is on the north side of Bethel, on the east side of the highway that goeth up from Bethel to Shechem and on Lebanon. Therefore they commanded the children of Benjamin, saying, go lie wait in the vineyards and see, and behold, if the daughters of Shiloh come out to dance and dances, then come ye out of the vineyards, catch ye every man of his wife of the daughters of Shiloh, and go to the land of Benjamin. So here it is, you got the elders telling these men to go lie in wait. And when these women came out, they took these women. No penalty. Nobody stopped them. Nobody got in the way and said, hey, you taking somebody's daughter. They set this up. And then when they said that their fathers come and complain, we're gonna tell them that, hey, we needed some women to provide for our men. Let it be.
Anonymous Hebrew.
What's up?
Are you aware that verse was in the Bible, brother?
Yes.
What is your interpretation of that verse, brother?
They were being lawless, and there's nobody around in the land to impose the law at this time, number one. Number two, I still don't see them raping these women. Now, we can call this kidnap. I mean, if that's what you want to say, I mean, you know, we could go into it, and I would have to do a real deep word study. But we don't see any type of sexual intercourse, number one. But Judges 17 and Judges 21 makes it clear that there was no king in Israel, and every man did what was right in his own eyes. To ask somebody to adjudicate the law when there is no law,
that's false.
Give,
that's false.
Judges 21 doesn't. Judges 17.
There
and Judges,
is law. The Israelites are in the land of Canaan. They are out. This is the generation that have received the land. This is they crossed over with Joshua.
What verse did you just read? What verse did you just read?
We in Judges 21.
All right. So this is Judges 21. This is Judges 21:25. In those days, there was no king in Israel. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes.
So they still got the
But you just said a second ago that I was false. Now you're saying so.
The Torah. You said there was no
okay.
law.
So what you're saying, Anonymous, is that there was no law in place and everybody was just doing what the fuck they wanted to do.
It was wild and like couldn't, you know what I'm saying? Like
there's nobody. So I think what Anonymous Hebrew response is to that situation is that, well, the law wasn't established because it was like total chaos at that point. So there was no established.
The Lord.
There was no established. Like government at the time to impose those laws.
How did they know it was a feast of the Lord. You just can't pick what bits and
But
pieces
they
of the
just
law
doing
you want.
whatever they want to do. You can't even take them serious. You can't even take them as if they
All right,
are.
thanks a lot. Thanks a lot,
Regardless, they
Anonymous.
still
Thanks a lot,
responsible for
Anonymous.
the Torah.
Thanks a lot, Anonymous. Okay, we're gonna go ahead to the voting, man. Very interesting dialogues, very interesting debate. So let's see who had the better argument. And we're going to start out with the people's vote. The people. P-E-O-P-L-E. The people's vote is now in effect. So, somebody put the number in the chat room for your boy Solar Mind. I'll just do it myself. There's the number right there. 215-954-9091. Who do you vote for? Is it Nkosi or is it Anonymous Hebrew? Who do you think won the debate? Who do you think had the better argument? Who is going to be victorious tonight, family? Call in now, forever hold your speech. This is the Solar Vision Debate League. Ohio. What's good, family? Who you vote for?
Nkosi.
Alright. Got one vote for Nkosi. Peace, family. State your name. Who you vote for?
Benny D, Anonymous Hebrew.
Alright, thus far we are tied at one apiece for the people's vote. One apiece for the people's vote. Very interesting debate. I really want to know who actually won this debate. Peace, family. State your name. Who you vote for?
Zafar, I vote for Nkosi.
Alright. 2 votes for Nkosi. Louisiana. Who you vote for?
Anonymous Hebrew.
Alright, thanks a lot. 2 votes for Anonymous Hebrew. We are all locked in at 2 apiece, family. Holla at your boy Solar Mind. Because it's gonna go down, family, on the 9th. Peace. State your name. Who you vote for?
Mr. No Busy, vote for Anonymous.
Uh-oh. Anonymous has taken the lead with 3 people's votes. Nkosi only has 2 people's vote. But it's still close, though. It's up for grabs. Anybody could win the people's vote. The Guerrilla Hebrew rule is in effect. The first person with 10 people's votes wins. Yes, family. So, Dunzali is going up against Inyami, which is the greatest music era, the 60s or the 90s, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This coming Friday. Make sure you be in the building for that. State your name. Who you vote for?
My name's Eddie. I'm voting for Nkosi.
All right. We are now tied up at 3 apiece. Telling y'all, family, y'all was sleeping on Nkosi, man. He came with that information. Peace. State your name. Who you vote for?
Anonymous Hebrew.
All right. Anonymous Hebrew coming back with a vengeance.
Okay.
Yo. You're a weirdo. So, we have 4 votes for Anonymous Hebrew. We have 3 votes for Nkosi. Oh, yes, sir. We're going to get down to the bottom of this, family, tonight. I'm going to tell you right motherfucking now. This shit right here ain't going to stop. That's my Puff Daddy impression. Young Israel going up against Weeda for the second half of Friday's doubleheader. Make sure you be in the building for that, family. State your name. Who you vote for?
This is Radical. I'm voting for Nkosi.
All right. Thanks a lot, sir. We're tied up for a piece with the people's vote. Looks like it's going to go down to the wire, family. Got that feeling. Somebody is going to be salty after this debate. It was close, I must admit. Both people made some interesting points. Both perspectives was articulated very well. And I think that Young Israel and Weeda will do the same thing this coming Friday. Who is the Messiah to come? King David or Jesus? 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That'll be the second half of Friday's doubleheader. Par excellence. Okay, thanks a lot. That was a call from France. They voted for Nkosi. So Nkosi now has 5, Anonymous has 4. Let's get it. Peace.
Yes, Tango. I vote for Anonymous.
All right. We are now once again tied at 5. Thanks a lot, brother. So, here on the Solar Vision Debate League, we have conflict. I mean, this is part of the game. This is part of the league. This is one of the aspects of the league that some people can take and others can't. This separates the men from the boys. That's what makes the league so unique. That's why I reward those who can deal with the pressure, who can deal with the tough debates, who can deal with the high volume of debates. But sometimes you have situations in the Solar Vision Debate League where a person kind of bite off more than they could chew. A person, they mess with the wrong person. Now, me being Solar Mind, I see these things happen all the time. I clearly understand how the situation is going to pan out. And I try my best as the commissioner of Solar Vision Debate League. Peace, family. Station name, who you vote for?
I vote for Anonymous.
All right. So Anonymous now has 2, 4, 5, 6 votes. So the tie has been broken. We'll give this thing another minute before we move forward. But the Gorilla Hebrew rule is in effect. The first person with 10 actually wins. So, I always try to give warning to the individuals who I know they're not really about their life because you're dealing with a gunner. It's certain people that's not playing this season. They told me. I seen their information. I know that they are not playing around with motherfuckers this season. But people still want to kind of challenge them. I see y'all up in the chat, popping shit and, talking a lot of smoke and all that type of stuff. And then I see the guy, I'm like, damn, I don't think he really want to mess with this guy. Because this guy is serious. This is a serious dude. He will intellectually blow your head off if you fucking around with him with some crazy information. So just this past week, I thought that it was going to be maybe going towards the middle of the season. But a lot of things happened in week 1, family, which surprised me. I was surprised, And I talked to the brother, before, while before the debate was about to begin. Everything was a go. But then, I think he saw this man's ammo, and he knew he wasn't about that life. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Y'all know who I'm talking about. It was people hiding. After they was popping all this shit, they went into hiding. So me, soul of mine, I see the gun there. Strap. See, y'all think STRAP stands for solving the race problem, which in a crazy way it is, because this guy is a banger. No, strap means strap. No, that nigga got a gun, nigga. Strap coming. And then Yara seen his gun and was like, damn, I didn't know this nigga was coming like this, man. Like, I said, man, he still think it's like 1968 when niggas fighting with switchblades. I said, no, that nigga ain't got no, Yara old ass coming up with a switchblade like, yeah. He thought that shit was cool too. Pulled that shit out like, yeah, where that motherfucker at? I said, man, that nigga ain't coming with no goddamn switchblade, nigga. You crazy? He said, yo, what he coming with? I said, dickle that nigga right there. And Strap was standing just like that, with that in his hand. He got the black gloves on. You should have seen Yahara's face, whole demeanor changed. That nigga ran and hid under the goddamn table. He hid under the table. Acting like his damn computer wasn't working. But as you can see, these are actual statements. These people are in the building right now. These are actual statements. So I'm just giving y'all an inkling of what goes on behind the scenes here on the Solar Vision Debate League. We can now go to the peers votes. The peers vote is, oh wow, we got a last second one. Peace. State your name. Who you vote for?
Anonymous Hebrew.
Alright, so that was an anonymous Hebrew vote right there. So with that being said, we are going to move on. Anonymous Hebrew does have 2 votes over in Nkosi at this time for the people's vote. So he has the people's vote. So the peers vote is now in effect. Peers. You know who the fuck you are. Calling it now, or forever hold your speech. This is the Solar Vision Debate League. No. Strap catching bodies. Now, I seen that joint kick. That joint got a hell of a kick on there. That joint got a hell of a kick on that shit. Peace, 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 peace. Gideon. Hold on a second. Gideon, peace. Damn, they getting it in. The fuck? All right, Gideon. Who you vote for, brother?
Anonymous.
All right. Gideon votes for Anonymous.
Shalom, man.
So, let's get it. Yamra Ya'u. Who you vote for, brother?
Yes, sir. I'm supposed to vote for Anonymous Hebrew.
All right. 2 votes for Anonymous. Peace, peace. Claim your inheritance. Who you vote for, brother?
Anonymous landslide.
All right. Thanks a lot, brother.
Shalom.
Peace, peace, family. Yashar. Who you vote for?
Shalom, shalom. I won't go to Anonymous Hebrew. Awesome work, bro.
All right.
Shalom.
So we got 4 votes to nothing thus far. Anonymous Hebrew is conquering the pair vote. Outside the cube, who you vote for?
Yeah. Peace, man. My man, 100 grand in Nkosi, man, he put it down.
All right.
What's his name? Yeah, Nkosi.
Thanks a lot. Out the cube. Out the blue. Peace family. Who you vote for?
Peace, man. 3 strikes, man. No way you would let that happen if it was irreversible. Like they killing everybody and then they take the wife. And then on top of that, they shame her by shaving her head, man. I got Nkosi.
All right. So we got 2 votes for Nkosi, and we have 4 votes for Anonymous Hebrew in the pairs. Anonymous won the people's vote. Let's go to Yara bin Nazareth. Yara, who you vote for, brother? Are you there, Yara? All right, Yara, you got to call back. We're not hearing you, brother. Yara, who you vote for? All right, you got to call back, brother. DJ Black Charm, who you vote for, brother?
I vote for Anonymous Hebrew.
Thanks a lot, brother. All right, so we got 2, 4, 5 for Anonymous. And 2 for Nkosi. Peace family. Yara, who you vote for? Your broke ass phone, bro. You got to call back, man. Or just send a text. Weeda, who you vote for, brother?
Power to the light side. The law is light. I got enough.
Now, who is it? Who is this? Oh, that did not sound like you, my nigga. All right, we got you. It sound like you now, though. All right. All right. Madon, peace family. Who you vote for?
Peace, Anonymous all the way.
All right, so we got 2, 4, 6, 7 for Anonymous now. Peace, peace, peace. State your name. Who you vote for?
Yeah. Hey, listen, Solar Slime. That's a good name, bro. But I got you traded though. My vote goes to Anonymous. Hands down, no contest. Good night, Cozy Comer.
Are you gonna come out of witness protection, brother? Peace, family. Chris Harris, who you vote for, brother?
Hey, you can't get past that. Judge is 21, man. Lawless mean breaking the law, and they had the law. So I give it to Nkosi on that alone. They weren't sitting up here signing autographs.
All right, so we got 3 for Nkosi. We have
Stealing them African women.
all right. So we got 3 for Nkosi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for Anonymous. Peace, peace, peace. Rob Rizak. Who you vote for? All right. Thanks a lot, brother. 4 votes for Nkosi. We have 8 votes for Anonymous. And so Strap came strapped that day, you know? You know what I mean? Strap came strapped that day. You know? And I was sitting here and I was telling Yaharai, like, this ain't 1968, bro. This ain't 1968, bro. You better come with your hammer. This is the new era. Kevin G, what's good?
What's going on?
Who you vote for, brother?
I'm gonna go ahead and put it in for Anonymous Hebrew.
All right. Nimrod, what's good? Who you vote for?
What up, man? I vote for Nkosi. Stop playing.
All right. We got 5 for Nkosi. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for Anonymous. What the hell you want?
Hey, I want to vote for Anonymous. Did I vote already?
Yeah, you vote for already, man. We know you voted already, nigga. Yeah, you want to play and fuck Anonymous up. Because I'll take your vote. You playing around, brother. Peace. Amayan. State your name. Who you vote for?
Amayan, Anonymous Hebrew all day.
Shalom, man.
All right. So that'll be 10. Anonymous is laughing at you niggas, yo. Peace. Minister Howe, who you vote for?
Hey, what's good, man? Hey, I gotta get this one to Anonymous.
All right.
Shalom, man.
The fuck, nigga? The fuck? You know what I mean? The fuck, man?
Yo, somebody light some fire. I'm killing this nigga right here. Light it one time, please.
God damn! They killing these niggas. The fuck? I know Nkosi like, man, what the fuck? Why they keep on voting for that nigga? You mad? It's cool though. It's all good. It's the season that started, man. It ain't about to. Napa, what's good?
Shalom. Although the Bible absolutely condones rape, Anonymous was the better debater and he had the better argument, so I vote for Anonymous.
All right. Thanks a lot, sister. All right, now, okay. Table of Kings. What's good? Who you vote for, brother?
Yo, let a dead knight speak one time. Shout out to the league. I love this debate, man. I got Anonymous, man. According to the Bible, he was going on to the God of Israel. I think according to the Bible, Anonymous proved that rape. You know what I'm saying? The Bible don't condone rape. Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, brother. I really helped Anonymous because he was losing, but I made Nkosi shuffle butt so bad that it swayed the votes after
I don't know you
because, I heard in the closing, like, you know how when somebody talking but they're about to cry? I heard that in his voice and I felt sorry. So, but I mean, all while this is going on, a lot of people slept on this guy, And this is the same situation. You know, you had my man Critic. He's coming in with the banana clip. He's trying to tear everything up. That's what he came to do. He didn't want to just hit the debater. He want to hit you and everybody that's near you. That's how adamant he was on with his information. He want to smoke you and everybody that's standing near you. He wiping all that out. And I told G-Con, because I was concerned, you know, that, you know, if Critic was able to wipe him out, like I knew what was going to happen. So I told him, like, yo, don't be fucking with them gangsters. He's a gangster. He's an intellectual assassin. He come in and he shoot every goddamn thing. He don't care. He just came off like that. Like he didn't care. He said, like, Solar, I'm gonna keep it real with you. I don't give a fuck about your league. This is what Critic said to me. He said, Solar, I don't give a fuck about your league, man. I'm shooting everything, man. If you standing next to that nigga, I'm gonna shoot you too, nigga. So I was like, look, I'm gonna talk to G-Con and see if I could, you know. I just told G-Con, like, G-Con, head for the mountains. Head to the mountains, G-Con. Because Critic is not playing. Coming with that M16 of knowledge on you motherfuckers. Sitting down playing. You know? He said, I got this banana clip for you, war baboons. Lighting all that shit up. Every time I turn around, he fucking with them gangsters. Yo. This is only week 1, family. This is only week 1. So with that being said, we can now get into the judges' votes. So we could open up the panel to the judges. Ladies first. Shika. How you doing, sister? Are you speaking, sister? Because we can't hear you. Are you there, Shika? You might have to come back in, sister, or you can just send me the text who you vote for if you're having some type of trouble, because we can't hear you. Yeah, so try to give it another go. We're just gonna move forward to another judge. Terry Smoot, what's good?
Oh shoot, what up, Solar? How you doing? I want to say first of all, this was a really great debate. This was a really good topic. I want to say shout out to Anonymous Hebrew and to Nkosi as well. My vote is gonna have to go for Nkosi because the magic number was 21 tonight, and Deuteronomy 21 and that Judges 21. Those two chapters, that 21:10 through 13, and that Judges 21. I'm sorry, that is that to me it sort of condones rape, and plus it's in the that's actually found in the Torah. So I'm gonna have to give it to Nkosi.
Okay, Nkosi gets 1 vote. No, she wasn't. Yeah, see, y'all go with y'all little. She wasn't asleep because she unmuted her mic, but she just it wasn't no sound. She unmuted the mic, so she wasn't asleep. What are you talking about? Yeah, y'all go with the bullshit, man. Here you go with the bull. School of Understanding, what's going on?
Peace, peace.
Who you vote for, brother?
All right, yeah, shout out to both debaters, man. This was a good debate. Round one, the opening round, both brothers came out pretty smooth, so I gave them an even round. The premise round, Anonymous probably gave the best presentation so far this season. And so I had already had him notched as, okay, he got this because I haven't heard a better presentation. And then Nkosi came, he started out pretty good, and then he started, adding some conjecture into verses and reaching as far as, reading, kill the married women but take the virgins, but it doesn't say anything about rape. It just says you could take the virgins, you know what I'm saying? So he was adding conjecture into that. And then he came with a knockout blow with Deuteronomy 22, verse 28, where it says if you take a virgin or if you rape a virgin, if you see a virgin in a field and you rape her, basically you could just pay 50 shekels. And so I was like, dang. So Anonymous was winning that round, and it's like, and Nkosi got a knockdown in that round. So that was pretty much even to me. And so I wanted to see where it was going to go, because basically Anonymous set the premise for these two words being different. So I wanted to see if Nkosi can expound on it. So in the rebuttal round, Nkosi took it to David, in the rape of Bathsheba or whatever. I really wasn't feeling that. Anonymous went to explain King James Version versus NIV. I mean, it was a kind of a toss-up. And then the rebuttal round, or the interrogation round, Anonymous was making a strong case for these two words being different, in Deuteronomy 22. One was always used for rape, and one can be used to take a wife or something. And this was a verse that really decided the debate for me, and Anonymous was bringing references to these two words being different, and I wanted to see what Nkosi could bring to verify his stance. And Nkosi really wasn't showing anything other than, okay, it's just a different Bible. You know what I'm saying? And so from my understanding, that word that Anonymous was, trying to skew to mean it's a different word was also the same word, if Nkosi would have brought this, that the Pharaoh's wife took Joseph by the clothes. The same word used to take a virgin, that they said rape in that verse, was the same word used by the Pharaoh's wife when she grabbed up Joseph, and Joseph had to flee from his clothes to flee from the rape. So if Nkosi would have brought that, or brought the Septuagint that uses the same word for the same verses, I would have gave my vote to Nkosi, but he didn't have no more substantial evidence to verify that claim. So my vote goes to Anonymous.
All right. Shout out to School of Understanding for that breakdown. We do have Sheikah on the line. So Sheikah, let us know, who do you vote for?
I apologize for technical difficulties. The topic was that the Bible Condone rape. I believe that Anonymous did a better job at showing consistency that the Bible does not condone rape. I think that Nkosi had a great argument with the women who were taken captives, have to shave their head, and things of that nature. However, Anonymous came back with that loophole law, which I would still wonder, would it cover those particular women, but we can't prove that it doesn't. So, and also time is a part of context. If I am a woman really didn't have rights until 1920. So looking at what rights women have now versus back in that day, women knew that if they lost war that day in the children would be taking. They knew that, you know, and so I love providing time and that. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to Anonymous, who did a great job of showing consistency in his stance.
All right, thanks a lot. Vote goes to Anonymous. Anonymous wins the debate. Family, shout out to both debaters. And we'll see you guys on Friday, man. We'll see you tomorrow. But we have our next debate, and it will be a double header, family. So make sure you be in the building for that. We have Dunzali going up against Inyame. Which is the greatest music era, the 60s or the 90s, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this Friday. The second half of Friday's doubleheader will be Young Israel going up against Wida. The topic will be, is the Messiah to come, King David or Jesus? 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you be in the building for that, family. Until next time, this is the Solar Vision Debate League, man. Peace.
Welcome to the sun, to the sun, to the sun.
Yeah, peace to y'all, brother. Good job.
Hey, great job, Nkosi. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like you came harder than I thought you would. That's good commitment. And thank you for that thorough breakdown. It's something that I gotta think about to make sure I cover every single way. But it was a good debate, though. Good job, bro.